This audiobook uncovers the secret code of reality. It shows how your thoughts, feelings, and sense of self are actually shaping your life in real time. Once you learn how to connect with this field, nothing is beyond your reach. The system isn't broken, it's reacting. You'll come to realize that for ages, people have searched for meaning in stars, scriptures, systems, and science, without seeing that the answer has always been right in front of them. The sacred algorithm isn't just some fantasy or theory, it's a living intelligence. It's a clear set of rules that determines how reality interacts with you every moment, consistently. You weren't thrown into a chaotic world to survive on your own. You entered a responsive system that takes your inner state as input and reflects a world around you. What you feel, believe, expect, and embody isn't just energy, it's data, and reality is the code that organizes it all. Sometimes, the illusion breaks down. Time seems to change, coincidences pile up, and the impossible brushes against your life. You've noticed this, like when someone texts you just as you think of them, or when life seems to respond to a silent wish before you even speak it. These aren't just random events, they're signs that the system is alive. The sacred algorithm operates continuously, not later, not sometimes, but now. Every breath, thought, and feeling sends fresh instructions to the quantum field. Yet, many remain unaware, thinking life is all about hard work, struggle, and proving yourself. Those who understand the sacred algorithm know it's different. It's not about forcing your way through, but about finding your frequency. You don't manifest by demanding, you do it by aligning. You don't control life with plans, but with your energy. The algorithm doesn't understand words, it understands vibration. And vibration reflects your true essence. Consider this. A seed doesn't struggle to grow into a tree. It holds its blueprint and simply allows the soil, sun, and time to do their part. Similarly, once you embody who you truly are, life shifts around you, not because you wished hard enough, but because you became clear to the system that has always seen you. The algorithm doesn't need persuasion. It reacts to what you embody as truth. It's like lifting a curtain. You start to see that your life isn't just a bunch of random happenings. It's shaped by what you consistently put into it. If you've ever felt deep down that life could flow more easily, like there's some magic waiting, it's because part of you already knows how it works. You're not learning something new. You're remembering how it was meant to be. That sacred pattern? It's not out there. It's inside you. Always has been. The only thing that changes is how aware you are of it. And now that awareness is waking up. There's a hidden rhythm running beneath everything, under the rain, the soaring birds, the rise and fall of nations, and even your own thoughts. It's a living pattern, not stuck, not random. It's ancient, wise, and aware. This pattern doesn't need you to believe in it. It just keeps spinning moments into one another, like a cosmic weaver. What looks chaotic from one view reveals perfect order from another. When you take a moment to just observe instead of jumping to react, you start to feel it, a gentle, harmonious flow guiding everything. You were born into this pattern, not as an outsider, but as part of it. Every breath, decision, and feeling sends a signal into this web, which responds as if it's an extension of you. What we call chance, coincidence, or luck. That's just the pattern talking in a language you've forgotten. But once you remember, everything shifts. The right people appear, obstacles fade away, and new paths light up. Not because life got easier, but because you learned to listen to its rhythm. Many people try to hack life through hard work and control, but you can't manipulate this pattern. You can only partner with it. And that starts with recognizing that it isn't separate from you. It flows through you. Your thoughts weave into this structure. Every belief you hold shapes the world around you. If you think the world is against you, that's what you'll see. Resistance. But if you believe in harmony, suddenly, doors swing open where there were walls. In ancient times, mystics would sit in silence for days, not to escape life, but to feel this invisible structure. They called it divine order, sacred geometry, the music of existence. Today, you might call it synchronicity or intuition, but really, it's all the same. It's a living pattern. Once you notice it, you can engage with it on purpose. Think of your thoughts as stones tossed into a river. The current will flow around them, carry them, and return new forms back to you. You're not just floating through a pointless universe. You're part of an intelligent dance. The more you connect with truth, peace, and being present, the clearer this pattern becomes. And as it becomes clearer, you move more smoothly through it, not by forcing your way, but by flowing with it. This isn't just fancy talk, it's a guide. Now that you see the pattern, the main question isn't about its reality, it's how you'll interact with it. The pattern is alive and listening. Underneath what you call life, there's a deeper layer, a structure more fundamental than atoms and more precise than math. It's not physical, yet everything physical comes from it. This is the invisible code of reality, silently directing everything from the stars to the way your days unfold. You can't see it with your eyes, but you feel its effects every time something aligns too perfectly to be pure luck. Every time you feel drawn to something without explanation. Every time you change inside and suddenly life shifts around you. You're not in a random world, you're walking in a coded universe. This code isn't like machine language, it's energetic. It communicates through vibrations, resonance, and harmony. Each thought, belief, and emotion is a line of code sent into this system, which mirrors back outcomes. Not because it's personal, but because it's perfect. You're not being put to the test, you're being mirrored. The world isn't judging your worth, it's playing out your internal script. Many wonder why their affirmations don't work or why visualizations fall flat. It's not about lacking desire, it's about misaligned energy. You can't fake alignment. The source code only reacts to the energy beneath your words. You might talk about abundance while feeling lack inside. You can act brave while projecting fear, but the universe, unaffected by appearances, responds only to what's really going on within you. Once you get this, everything changes. You stop trying so hard. To see real change and start coding your reality, stop battling the outside world. Instead, focus on what's happening inside. Shift your question from why isn't this working to what energy am I putting out there? The space around you isn't random, it's programmable. And guess what? You're the programmer. It's your thoughts, your feelings. Think back on those times when a simple change in your attitude brightened up your day, or that moment when you let go and everything just fell into place. Those weren't flukes. They were powerful shifts when your inner code clicked and suddenly the universe synced up. It always does. The only thing that matters is how clear your message is. Remember, the invisible code isn't for cracking, it's for remembering. It's deep, ancient, and close to your heart. You're not separate from it. You're part of it, flowing and shaping it with every single moment. Reality isn't a wall to crash against. It's a mirror to reshape. The more you connect with truth, peace, and being present, the more refined your code becomes. And here's the kicker. Your results won't be slow. They'll be instant because the system is always on. Now that you know, you don't just go with the flow. You command your reality. Everything you've ever felt, seen, or touched started as something invisible. Before a conversation, there was a thought. Before a building, a vision. And before every moment, there was a spark of awareness. That spark isn't secondary, it's primary. Consciousness isn't just sitting back watching life unfold. It creates it. It's the driving force behind everything. Yet, many people act like reality starts outside of them, something they need to react to, defend against, or chase after. That's the biggest illusion we've ever bought into. When you realize that consciousness is where everything starts, everything flips. You stop being just a reaction and start being the creator. No longer do you wait for signs. You become the one bringing them to life. Your mind isn't just a spectator. It's like a projector. Whatever you keep in your awareness becomes the blueprint for what the universe builds around you. And this creation doesn't come from struggle. It comes from resonance. The world around you is energy shaped by your thoughts, designed by matching principles. You're not just at the mercy of what happens, you're part of what happens. People react based on how they see things. That's why two people can experience the same moment and walk away with completely different feelings. One person feels rejected, while the other feels redirected. One sees limitations, the other sees freedom. It's not the event that gives it meaning, it's how we understand it. That understanding shapes what happens next. The universe is waiting for the signal you send, not just the words you say or the hopes you have, but what you genuinely embody. This isn't just theory, it's the core of every transformation. Behind every story of change, every miracle, there's a shift in consciousness. When your internal state changes, your external world has to follow. It's not an option, it's a rule. The universe doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to who you are. And who you are is shaped by the quality and clarity of your consciousness right now. To improve your life, you don't need to fix everything around you. You just need to go back to that calm center where everything begins. That calm point is your awareness, untouched by fear, not bound by time, and free from the need to control. From there, creation gets easier. Not necessarily easy, but straightforward. You start to see things come together without struggle. Ideas just flow. Life feels less like a fight and more like a conversation. You weren't meant to chase after results. You were meant to cultivate a state of being where those results simply happen. Consciousness isn't just part of the process, it's the entire process. Now that you understand this, there's no need to wait. You can go back to the source. The moment you shift, the universe shifts too. We've been taught that hard work leads to success, that pushing harder gets better results, and that striving is the only way forward. But the real truth hiding beneath all that conditioning is that reality doesn't react to effort. It responds to your input. And by input, I mean your frequency, your awareness, and your identity. The world you live in isn't mechanical. It's about vibrations. It listens to your signal, not your sweat. You can push and try your hardest to make something happen, but if the energy behind what you're doing doesn't match your true self, the universe won't cooperate. That's why two people can do the same thing and end up with completely different results. One person acts from a place of understanding, while the other doesn't. Moving from fear brings one kind of action, while stepping from clarity brings another. From the outside, they might look the same, but deep down, they're completely different. The fabric of reality doesn't just respond to how much you do, it reflects who you are while doing it. There comes a time in everyone's life when pushing harder just doesn't work anymore, when all that hustling just turns into noise. Outcomes start to stall, even with all that effort. But this isn't a sign of failure, it's a nudge. The universe is trying to tell you something. It doesn't run on pressure, it thrives on presence. You're not meant to wear yourself down chasing what you want. Instead, you should embody the kind of energy that makes reality pay attention. When you believe, you see confirmation. When you're scared, you see that reflected back. When you're peaceful, opportunities find you. The change is deep and it's real. Once you stop tying your worth to how much you're doing, you open the door for something bigger to come in. You reconnect with the true power that isn't in your actions, but in how closely your energy aligns with what you desire. This doesn't mean to be lazy. It's about being intentional. When your signal is strong and clear, your actions become fewer but far more powerful. Take one step and it reverberates like 1,000. Speak one truth and watch the space around you shift. Make a single choice and the way ahead becomes clear. Not because you forced it, but because you tuned into the energy of what you want before it even shows up. Reality is tuned in. It doesn't listen to your hustle, but to your harmony. When your inner self and your desires match, the outside world rearranges quickly. The effort that once seemed necessary starts to feel like a thing from the past. You stop chasing results. Instead, you create your reality from within. And when you do, life doesn't just respond, it speeds up. Life isn't quiet. It communicates through signs, nudges, delays, synchronicities, and patterns. Yet, many walk through life oblivious to its language, thinking their experiences are random instead of meaningful. Reality operates like a feedback loop. It doesn't just happen, it reacts. What comes into your life isn't by chance. It's a message from the universe. Call it divine order. It's always reflecting your inner thoughts back to you, right in real time. Once you start noticing these signals, confusion starts to fade. You begin to see life for what it really is, a conversation between you and the unseen. The field doesn't shout, it doesn't use logic. It communicates through repetition, resonance, and reflection. When something keeps happening, it's not just a coincidence, it's a sign. If you keep hitting closed doors, the field is trying to tell you something about your energy. If people treat you a certain way repeatedly, that pattern showcases how you see yourself. These aren't penalties, they're precise feedback, never meant to hurt but to guide you. You're not being rejected. You're being shown what you're putting out into the world. This feedback system is always honest. It doesn't care what you say you want. It responds to what you truly believe. That's why you can proclaim abundance yet still face scarcity, or dream of love but feel lonely. Beneath your words lies a deeper message, your true expectations, feelings, and subconscious signals. Reality simply aligns itself to match that message. At first, this realization might feel overwhelming, but once you embrace it, it becomes one of the most empowering truths out there. It means you're never really stuck, you're just out of sync. And let me tell you, alignment isn't about luck, it's about awareness. The moment you shift your internal message, the field starts to respond, immediately, not later. Pay attention. Notice the vibe of your day. Watch how people react to you. Tune into how your body feels as you move through life. These are all signals, not mistakes or accidents. They're the field reacting to your current state. You don't need to control them, you just need to understand them. Reality isn't ignoring you, it's answering you with perfect accuracy. The question is, are you picking up on those answers? When you see life as a mirror, every moment holds a message, and each message is a chance to fine-tune the energy you're sending out. You're not here to blindly chase after results. You're here to read the field, adjust your energy, and sync up with the flow that's always been waiting for you to listen. Feedback isn't in your way, it is the way. The journey begins when you realize this. Trust me, once you understand this, life won't feel random anymore. There's a pattern that shows up in everything around us. Look at the way trees branch out, the spirals of galaxies, the veins in your hand, even the rhythm of your breath. They all point to something deeper. This is the fractal design of life, a sacred symmetry that runs through everything. Nothing exists in isolation. The same energy that moves stars also shapes your choices. Your thoughts aren't just random sparks. They're reflections of a larger picture, playing out in your world. What you think is small or insignificant is actually a little command to the whole universe. Destiny isn't a straight path with just one endpoint. It's a sprawling structure, a living fractal that shifts according to the patterns you create. Each decision, each feeling, and each belief add a new branch, and every branch leads to a different version of your future. The amazing thing is, you don't have to see the entire tree to change it. You only need to tweak the next split. A small change can lead to something huge. This fractal doesn't grow by force. It evolves based on the energy you put out. If you carry guilt, life will reflect that back to you in ways that fit perfectly. On the flip side, if you walk with a sense of worthiness, your path will open up into new opportunities and connections that feel like miracles. But they're not coincidences, they're calculations. The universe doesn't guess, it organizes results based on what you truly embody. You're not just moving through life, you're shaping the very tree you're navigating. Like a fractal, your inner world projects itself outward over and over. One belief can multiply, one assumption can resonate. That's why people often encounter the same themes in relationships, new cities, or different jobs. They're not cursed, they're stuck in a loop, repeating the same internal patterns in new settings. Real change doesn't come from uprooting everything. It comes from updating the way you see things inside. You weren't born into a set fate. You came into a dynamic system that responds to your choices. The more aware you are of the pattern you're creating, the better you can guide its unfolding. You don't have to know every detail of your future. Just plant the present with clear intentions, and everything else will fall into place. When the roots change, the entire tree transforms, and those roots, they're rooted in your awareness. Destiny isn't some big puzzle. It's like a mirror. It doesn't bring surprises. It reflects what you've become. Change your patterns, and your path will adjust. The tree bends at the seed, and that seed, it's you. You weren't tossed into a world of strict rules and set outcomes. You were born into a system that updates itself based on what you believe. Every thought you have, every belief you hold, every emotional pattern you accept becomes a living code sent out into the universe. Life isn't static, it adapts to you. It's not waiting for permission, it's waiting for your input. And guess what? It's not about how hard you try, it's about what you expect. That's why some people seem to change their lives in an instant. The universe doesn't play favorites, they've just rewritten their inner script. What you believe becomes the reality that finds you. You're not just moving through life, you're actively programming it, line by line, moment by moment. Most folks do this without thinking. They wake up, replaying the same thoughts, feeling the same feelings, and life keeps running the same script. It continues this way until you tell it differently. But once you realize the code you're operating on, you can change your results. Life doesn't resist you, it mirrors you. It has no choice but to follow the blueprint set by your identity. The universe doesn't need convincing, it needs clarity. If you walk around believing you're not enough, the system will provide evidence of that, not to hurt you, but to comply with your beliefs. This isn't just a figure of speech, it's how it works. Your inner thoughts write the code, your emotions build it, and your focus runs it. The feedback you get is simply that program in action. When something unwanted pops up, it's not proof of failure. It's a cue to make some adjustments. The glitch is not a setback, it's a signal. And remember, you're the only one with access to your script. You don't need to change everything all at once. Just take it step by step. Change your focus from waiting for things to get better. Instead, think, I'm already aligned with the person who lives that life. Rather than saying, one day I'll be good enough, try, I've always been the signal this system needed. The shift happens as soon as you claim it, not because the words are magical, but because the system responds to who you are, not what you want. You're not here to conquer the world. You're here to master the code you're sending out. When you realize that life is a self-programming system, you become intentional with every thought, every word, every breath. Stop begging life to change. Start inputting new commands. The system listens, it adjusts, and that version of reality you dreamed of, it's starting to unfold in real time. There's something you hold within you that changes everything the moment you embrace it. It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't require lots of effort or repeating things over and over. Yet, it opens the door to power that many spend their lives searching for. That thing is awareness. It's not about thought, knowledge, or action. It's pure awareness, the simple act of seeing without judgment, noticing without reacting, and observing without interference. Awareness is not passive. It's the master key to your own reality's source code. Without it, you're running programs without seeing clearly. With it, you're no longer just a passenger. Now you hold the map. Awareness isn't scattered attention across distractions. It's about being deeply present. It means stepping back from the endless noise in your head and watching the patterns emerge instead of being caught in them. When you're aware, you start picking up on the subtle signals that dictate everything. You see how one thought leads to another, how emotions shift outcomes, how what's happening outside reflects your inner state. Suddenly, what felt like chaos looks more like choreography. Life doesn't seem random anymore. It feels responsive. The system you live in doesn't need effort to change. It needs consciousness. As soon as you become aware of what you're broadcasting, you disrupt that automatic flow. You catch fear before it spins into a story. You notice self-doubt before it defines you. You spot old beliefs before they create the same old results. Awareness doesn't aim to fix things. Its very presence dissolves the lies. Because once you see the pattern, everything shifts. You're no longer controlled by it. The spell is broken. This is why change can feel so sudden. It's not that the world outside has shifted. It's that someone became aware of their state. They stopped getting lost in the confusion and started to see it. And in that seeing, they found the power to make different choices. That's when the field starts to change. Not because of words, but because of awareness. Reality doesn't transform when you do more. It transforms when you become more conscious. Awareness is key. It bridges the gap between reacting and acting with intention, between going on autopilot and taking control. Without this awareness, you just repeat old patterns. With it, you can rewrite your story. You begin acting from a place of clarity, not history. You start aligning with life through understanding, not effort. Life, which once seemed like it was happening to you, starts feeling like it's responding through you. You don't need to have it all figured out. All you need is to realize that one choice can change your relationship with everything. It changes life from a maze into a mirror. allowing you to pause, rethink, and give a new command. Not by fixing what's outside, but by looking within. When you see your inner world clearly, the old patterns fade away. Awareness isn't just about seeing, it's about sparking change. The key has always been in your hands. Where your attention goes, reality follows. This isn't just a saying, it's real. Your attention is more than awareness, it's about making choices. It acts like a cursor in the endless document of possibilities, waiting for your command. When you focus, the field starts to build. It doesn't happen because the world reacts to your curiosity. It's because your attention is the spark in this sacred design. Most people scatter their attention, leaking power into worries and noise. But those who understand attention use it like a tool, deliberate, focused, and intentional, and watch reality sharpen around that decision. Your life isn't shaped by what you want. It's shaped by what you keep your attention on. Attention is a vote, a frequency, a magnetic draw. You can say you want peace, but if your focus is on problems and noise, the system won't hear you. It listens to where you place your attention. Where you focus your attention really matters. When you give something your attention, you're feeding it energy and life. A fear can turn into a pattern if you keep going back to it. A doubt becomes a block if you keep shining a light on it. This isn't punishment, it's the way things work. The universe doesn't care whether you enjoy what you're focusing on. It just picks up the signal and produces more of it. The longer you linger on a limitation, the more real it feels. Not because it is true, but because you've chosen to highlight it. That's why taking back your attention is a big deal. It's about reclaiming your power to choose. Where you look determines what you create. And remember, creation doesn't start with action. It starts with where your attention goes. You don't need to fix every problem. Just stop letting them dominate your reality. When you shift your focus to beauty, growth, and possibilities, the story starts to change. The most powerful people aren't those who control others. They're the ones who master their attention. They don't respond to every little provocation. They don't chase after validation. They stick to the vision of what they're creating, even if they can't see the results yet. They know that what they focus on shapes what unfolds next. Your attention is powerful, not fragile. You can take it back anytime. You can choose to ignore doubt, scroll past fear, and put your focus where your heart wants to speak. When you do that, life starts to align with your new direction. This isn't just fantasy, it's how it works. You're not just wandering through a random scenario. You're writing your own story with each glance and every moment of mindfulness. Attention is your guiding cursor. So choose wisely where you direct it. The next chapter is already being formed. Belief isn't just an opinion or wishful thinking. It's not something soft or vague. Belief is the foundation, the structure, the code that shapes reality without question. Whatever you believe consistently sets the groundwork for your life. The world doesn't dictate your beliefs shape your reality. It doesn't matter if those beliefs were inherited, misunderstood, or unconsciously picked up. If they're in you, they're running the show. That's why real change needs more than just effort. You can put in endless effort, make all kinds of plans, and recite affirmations daily. But if deep down you think, this isn't for me, then that's what you'll attract. It's not about fair or unfair. It's about the environment you're in. It responds to your beliefs, not your desires. Your beliefs act like a filter. If you believe life is tough, you'll only find proof to back that up. But if you believe you're always supported, even chaos will start working in your favor. Beliefs aren't just fixed ideas. They're alive. They shape how you carry yourself, the choices you make, and even your tone of voice. They affect how much of your potential you tap into, and the universe is always tuned in. It picks up the real signals, not just what you want to project. You might say you're confident, but if deep down you feel unworthy, that's the frequency it'll respond to. But here's the good news. Beliefs can change. They're not set in stone. You can update them the moment you stop seeing them as absolute truths and start treating them like tools. If your life keeps hitting the same note, don't blame the world. Instead, ask yourself, what belief is bringing that outcome into your life? And instead of fighting it, replace it. The system thrives on clarity, not resistance. Think of installing a new belief like downloading an app. Do it often and with the intent to let go of the old one. Every time you reinforce a belief, the universe is listening, not in the future, but right now. You're already running a belief program. The only question is whether you chose it or if it's something you inherited. Start small. Believe you're supported. Believe something good is coming your way. Believe that your next step is already known, even if you can't see it yet. Watch how things change. The mirror of your life will reflect a new rhythm, not because you worked harder, but because you shifted your beliefs. You didn't come here to live by old programming. You're here to update the system with conscious choices. The universe doesn't need convincing. It needs a new code, and that code is belief. Quiet, powerful, and steady belief. Reality can't help but respond. It always has, and it always will. There are forces shaping your life that you might not have questioned, not because they're hidden, but because they're so familiar. These are the hidden factors you carry around, unspoken beliefs and inherited stories that quietly shape your experience. They influence how far you can go, what you attract, and how you see the world. Most of the time, you didn't choose them. You picked them up from your surroundings, from repetitive messages, and from the subtle influences of your early years. But don't be fooled. Even if they're invisible, they're steering your life with surprising accuracy. These influences linger beneath your thoughts. They're not about what you openly claim to believe. They're tied to your expectations, what you think will happen over and over. The unvoiced idea that success means sacrifice. The instinct that relationships end in heartbreak. The quiet notion that good opportunities are out of reach for you. They shape your energy, affect your choices, and create cycles you can't break. Not because there's something wrong with you, but because you've been running a program you forgot you had. You can't change what you don't know, but once you bring these hidden factors to light, you start to loosen their hold. Awareness replaces illusion. You begin to notice those little twitches when good things come your way. The part of you that doubts good fortune and expects loss to follow joy. These aren't just odd quirks, they're instructions, and the mind follows them closely. That's why effort alone often doesn't lead to change. You could do everything right, affirm yourself, take all the right steps, and still find yourself back in familiar emotional territory. Why? Because the universe isn't responding to your hard work, it's reacting to those hidden beliefs working behind the scenes. The silent fears, the outdated self-image, the assumption that you have to do more to deserve what's already yours. These are the things that matter. But here's the good news. These beliefs aren't set in stone. They can be changed. You can hit pause on that negative loop the moment you feel it starting. You can challenge the fear instead of letting it guide you. Each time you do this, the code shifts, not through struggle, but through clarity. Not by forcing change, but by becoming aware. You don't need to turn your life upside down to change your outcomes. All you need is to update that internal equation. Ask yourself what assumptions you've been holding on to. What outcomes have you expected without even realizing it? Then, consider whether that version of reality is still what you want. The system is constantly taking in your experiences. Those feelings you have, they pack more power than you realize, but they're often hidden under layers you've never examined. Once you recognize them, you break free from their grip. You're the author of your own story. Each choice, each new belief, allows you to rewrite it, not because life has changed, but because your perspective has shifted. Most people view emotions as mere reactions. They think of them like changing weather, something that comes and goes. But emotions aren't just side effects, they're commands. Your inner system sends signals to reality, telling it how to shape itself around you. When you deeply and consistently feel something, that feeling sends out a specific vibe that the universe picks up. It doesn't respond to your words, it reacts to your emotions. Emotions carry energy. That energy sends messages to the world around you. Joy isn't just a nice feeling, it's a guiding force. Fear isn't simply uncomfortable, it teaches you something. Gratitude isn't just good, it's a signal that you already have something valuable, prompting the universe to bring you more. Emotion shapes your reality. That's why how you feel matters even more than what you do. You can follow the perfect plan and say the right things, but if your underlying emotion is filled with doubt or fear, the system will reflect that back at you. The world isn't fooled by surface actions. It responds only to your energetic vibration, emotion transformed into electric signals. Think of your feelings as the ink in your writing pen. Every moment you experience is crafted with that ink. Some people are stuck rehashing their lives with unprocessed anger, leftover sadness, or inherited guilt. They're puzzled by why certain patterns keep repeating and why new opportunities slip away. It's not about worthiness. It's about the emotional signals they're sending out, which are different from what they truly want. You can't fake a feeling. However, you can create a new one. Emotions follow where you focus your attention. When you shift your awareness to something positive, like beauty or abundance, your energetic frequency changes, and that opens the door to new possibilities. You're not just pretending. The field responds to the signals you put out. It doesn't need drama, it needs clarity. Your emotions are the strongest command in how things work in life. If you want to change your world, don't chase outcomes. Change how you feel on the inside. You're not here to just manage your emotions like a symptom. You're here to see them as signs. Each feeling you have sends a message that says, "This is who I am now." And guess what? The universe listens. You don't have to feel perfect to shift your life. You just need to pick emotions that align with your future, not with your past. Hold on to that feeling long enough, and the universe will start paving the way for you. This isn't some trick. It's a reality. Emotions are energy in motion, sure, but they're also messages. What you feel teaches the universe how to respond. Sometimes things align so perfectly that you can't help but think something, or someone, is guiding it all. A stranger shares exactly what you needed to hear. A door opens just when you thought they were all shut. A book falls off the shelf with an answer you didn't even know you were after. These aren't just coincidences, they're responses. Coincidence isn't random, it's part of a deeper code that shapes reality, and that code is always adjusting based on your mindset. You're not just strolling through a world that occasionally throws you a surprise. You're moving through a system that keeps reflecting what's happening inside you. What looks like luck is really logic, the unseeable logic of resonance and timing. When your thoughts, feelings, and identity are all in sync, the universe responds in kind. Often that response comes as synchronicity, a sign that says, "Yes, we got your message." Every coincidence is an echo of a frequency you've sent out, whether you knew it or not. It might not always make sense to your rational mind, but the underlying workings are seamless. You may think it's just a chance meeting or a catchy tune that popped up, but nothing in this world is without reason. There's a thread connecting your internal state to what's happening around you. The more you recognize this, the more it appears. Many people spend their whole lives missing these signs, dismissing them as mere chance, not realizing the universe was trying to connect with them all along. It speaks in a language of patterns and precision. Others learn to tune in, to listen, to align. When you take your inner world seriously, the universe reveals just how precise it can be. As your energy becomes clearer, synchronizations and coincidences start happening more often. It's not that reality has favorites. It's that your inner code is now clean, direct, and understandable. That's why being aware is so crucial. When you become conscious of your emotional state, your assumptions, and where you focus your thoughts, you begin to notice the patterns in what life reflects back. You'll spot those moments of perfect timing, recurring symbols, and mirrored conversations. These aren't puzzles to solve. They're confirmations that your signal is being picked up and responded to. Coincidence is like the universe nodding back at you, saying, "We hear you." Here's your answer right here. It won't shout, but it will always reflect your inner state. You don't need to push for these moments. Just align yourself enough to notice them. The more you live intentionally, the clearer it becomes that nothing is random. The system is listening, and the code behind every coincidence is the frequency you carry within you. Every thought you think leaves a mark, not just in your mind, but in the invisible field around you. Many see thoughts as just personal and fleeting, but thoughts are active. Each one sends out a frequency that doesn't just disappear, it echoes back. The responsive field picks it up and sends it back to you again and again until you realize you're the source of what you keep experiencing. This is the echo loop of thought, the quiet cycle that shapes lives without being noticed. You think a thought, that thought stirs emotions. Those emotions send out a signal, and the reality algorithm picks it up, reflecting back an experience that matches your emotional vibe. You interpret that experience as proof, and that proof strengthens your original thought. This loop keeps going. The more you believe your thoughts, the more reasons you find to validate them, and the stronger the evidence becomes. But what you're really seeing isn't necessarily the truth. It's just the loop you're caught in. People often trap themselves, thinking they're seeing the world clearly, but in truth, they're just projecting their own thoughts into reality. They believe their problems come from outside, yet the real issue is within, a loop that can't be broken by chasing after the echoes. You need to shift the foundational thought. When you do, the world around you will start responding. It's not about punishment, it's just how it works. Most of what we call reality is just our familiar thinking on repeat. The same thoughts create the same feelings. Those feelings fuel the same energy, leading to the same results. It's not about lacking potential, it's about being stuck in a loop. To escape, you need to disrupt it. Not forcefully, but with awareness. The moment you begin to question your thoughts, you break the cycle. If you introduce a new thought, one that vibrates higher, the universe will tune into that signal. Stick with it long enough. If you nurture that new thought with feeling, it can become your new normal. Sure, the old echoes might still come back, but if you stay true to your new frequency, things will shift. What once felt like reality can fade away, just like shadows vanish in light. You're not destined to live the same story over and over. You're simply getting back what you've been sending out. Change your inner dialogue, and you'll start attracting different responses. Your thoughts influence your reality, creating a cycle you can choose to step outside of. You can rewrite it, reshape it, because it all starts with you. The idea that you attract what you want sounds nice, but it often turns into a waiting game. You're not just sitting back, hoping things come your way. You're a coder, shaping your reality with your state of being. The universe isn't delivering what you want like a delivery driver. It's crafting reality based on the code you emit from within. You're not just attracting love, abundance, opportunities, or freedom. You're generating a version of reality where those things exist. Change is bound to happen, but you don't get it by just wanting it desperately. It's all about being in tune. The system doesn't care how badly you want something. It's listening to whether your vibe matches the version of you that already has what you desire. This isn't punishment, it's just precision. The algorithm isn't holding back. It's just interpreting your emotional state, beliefs, and identity. When they align, you send out a clear command. That command gets processed, and the result? The version of life that fits your code. You're not just sitting around waiting for things to happen. You're always creating from within. If your inner dialogue says you have to struggle for what you want, then even success will feel hard and draining. But if your inner code says that things just work out for you, then opportunities show up easily. The change isn't about luck. It's all about the logic behind it. Trying harder isn't always the answer. No matter how much effort you put in, if deep down you're stuck in feelings of lack or fear, you won't get the life you're aiming for. The system can't deliver on that kind of signal. You might think you're being overlooked, but your commands are being processed with amazing accuracy. You're not here to pull in what you want. You're here to evolve into the version of you that shapes reality around your own wholeness, not by begging, waiting, or forcing, but simply by being. That's why it's important to embody that state of already having. When you live from that space, you close the gap between wanting something and actually having it. You stop chasing what feels far away and start creating the conditions for it to already exist. Everything in your life reflects a code you might not have consciously written, but you're the one at the keyboard now. The field isn't random, it's programmable. You're not stuck in delays. You're the one designing the instructions. When the code changes, the whole structure changes. You don't just attract reality, you write it. The system will always process what you command. There's a language deeper than your words, a rhythm beyond your thoughts. It's a clarity that comes from something ancient and profound. This inner knowing doesn't argue or try to prove itself. It doesn't debate doubts. It simply knows. And the moment you tap into that, you start to notice its unique touch, realizing it's always been there for you. Not with chatter, but with precision. While the world taught you to analyze, protect, and plan, your inner voice spoke softly through sensations of ease and confidence. It was never loud because it didn't need to be. Inner knowing doesn't rush in fear. It doesn't lure you with promises or scare you with threats. Instead, it feels like gravity, drawing you towards something that might seem odd to others, but resonates perfectly with your soul. When you follow it, doors open that you didn't even know were there. But when you ignore it, tension rises, not as punishment, but as a gentle nudge in another direction. It's not punishing you for making wrong choices. It's guiding you away from what doesn't fit with your true self. Inner knowing speaks in subtle ways, but it's precise. It comes through moments of stillness, a feeling of calm, even when facing the unknown. It never forces you to change into someone you're not. Instead, it encourages you to become more of who you already are. You can't force it or fake it, but you can recognize it by how clear it feels. No tension, no complicated stories, just a pure sense of clarity. This inner knowing isn't random, it's part of your design. It's the link between your awareness and the deeper truths of the universe. While your mind juggles options like a deck of cards, inner knowing goes straight to the heart of the matter without needing any guesses. It doesn't rely on mental tricks. It aligns with reality. When your frequency aligns with a truth, it becomes crystal clear. It's not something you puzzle out. It's something that just clicks. You've experienced this before, when you met someone and instantly knew who they were, or when you passed on a great opportunity because something felt off. That choice that didn't seem logical but led to everything falling into place, that was guidance. And this guidance isn't a rare event. It's always there. The reason it can fade is that the internal chatter can get drowned out, not from the outside but from within. Doubt, anxiety, second-guessing, these aren't faults, they're interference. When you silence them, your true signal comes back. Inner knowing is your compass, the algorithm that points you in the right direction. It speaks in vibrations, not in words. Its language is always truth. The more you trust it, the clearer your reality becomes. Not because you've figured everything out, but because you've aligned with what's always been there. You finally embraced what was there all along, quiet, simple, and absolutely certain. Desire often gets twisted. People think it's the engine behind everything you want, the spark that ignites the fire driving your dreams. But in the language of the universe, desire can get lost. It's not that wanting is bad. It's just that most desire comes from feeling like something is missing, and that feeling becomes the real message. The universe isn't just hearing what you're wishing for, it's picking up on the energy you project while you wish. If your desire is mixed with feelings of lack or frustration, the universe doesn't tune into your words. It picks up the frequency of your feelings and reflects it back perfectly. Wishing for something doesn't bring it to you. It's about channeling the energy of someone who already has what they want. But many people get stuck in that longing, focusing on what they lack and mislabeling it as manifestation. Here's the truth. The universe only reflects what's coherent. When you're identifying with what you don't have while asking for abundance, there's no clarity. The universe doesn't get emotional, it's mechanical. It registers what you're feeling, not what you're hoping for. That's why some desires never come to life, not because they're too big, but because the person holding them is out of sync. They might want love, but feel unworthy. They want success, but expect struggle. They seek peace, but live in chaos. The desire might be beautiful, but the energy beneath it is all over the place, leading to mixed results. You don't just get what you want. You get the life that matches your state of being. The secret isn't to stop wanting things. It's about elevating that desire's frequency. Wish from a place of fullness, not emptiness. Want from joy, not from feeling incomplete. When you can hold on to a vision and already feel the emotion of having it, without needing it to appear to feel whole, you send out a clear signal. The universe responds swiftly because now you're broadcasting aligned energy. Desire becomes powerful when instead of crying for help, it becomes a statement of growth. When you wish as a creator, not as someone trying to fill a gap, that's when the universe starts moving. not because you're pushing, but because you're in sync. That's the beauty of detached intention. You know what you want, but you don't cling to it. Don't plead for it. Embody it. Live as the person who already knows it's done, and that shifts everything. You were never denied what you wanted, you just sent mixed signals. Now you get it. Clear the code and align your energy. Let your desire flow from a place of wholeness, not from something missing. The universe is listening and responds to how you feel, not just what you say. There's a part of you that knows deep down before your mind catches up. It's a knowing that doesn't rely on memories or logic. It resonates. That's intuition, a built-in shortcut in your design. While your mind sifts through details, weighing options and predicting outcomes, intuition leaps straight to the truth. It doesn't explain, it doesn't ask for permission. It just shows up, complete and immediate. It tunes into the part of existence that already knows. Your reality isn't flat, it's layered and multidimensional. Every possibility, every version of what could be, already exists in a kind of vibrational library. Intuition is your way of scanning it. When you feel that gentle nudge, that quiet urge to act or hold back, that's your shortcut. It cuts through doubt and brings alignment without hesitation. Many people ignore this, drowning it out with noise. They second-guess feelings that lack proof. But proof takes time. Intuition moves fast. It doesn't need evidence, it is the evidence. When you follow it, you're not just guessing, you're aligning with the path that matches your highest self. You're not creating clarity, you're recognizing it. The more you trust your intuition, the clearer it becomes. Not because it gets stronger, but because you get quieter. You start to see that what felt like coincidence was actually precision. That inner voice urging you to take a different route, call someone, or wait a bit wasn't random. It was alignment guiding you back to your true self. This isn't magic, it's mechanics. Intuition is your direct link to the universe. It cuts through filters, history, and inherited patterns, moving quickly and clearly. It's not emotional, but it often brings peace. It doesn't shout or argue, it simply knows. If you ignore it, it won't stick around. To let it guide you, you need to trust it. But remember, you often get that trust validated only after you take the leap, not before. When you treat your intuition like it's sacred advice, things start to flow better in your life. You'll make fewer mistakes, not because you know everything, but because you start listening earlier. You don't need to map out every step, just focus on the next yes or the opportunity that feels right, even if it feels odd. You're not here to calculate every move. You're here to remember that answers are already within you. Intuition is your shortcut to finding them. The more you act on that knowing, the more your reality aligns with a version of you that never needed to force things, just trusted what was already known. There's something deeper at play beneath every action, thought, and choice. It's not just about goals or strategies. It's about your identity. It's the version of you that you believe you are, shaped by assumptions about what's possible and what you deserve. This identity serves as your default setting and gently shapes your entire reality. You don't attract what you want, you attract who you are, and that's defined by the identity you nurture. Most people don't even think about this. They live from an identity formed in childhood, shaped by family and experiences. They don't see that their current life isn't a reflection of their highest potential, but rather a mirror of their most familiar self. If you see yourself as someone who always struggles, you'll find that struggle. If you think you're always coming in second, that script will keep playing, no matter how hard you try. It's not punishment, it's just your programming, running in the background until you choose to change it. Identity is the baseline for all signals sent out. It tells the universe what to bring back to you. You might attempt to change your habits or surroundings, but unless you shift that underlying identity, life will keep handing you the same version. Your identity isn't just what you say when you're feeling inspired. It's how you see yourself on autopilot. It's the story you're living when no one is looking. And that system follows your story with unwavering loyalty. Here's the thing. Your identity isn't set in stone. It's something you choose. Sure, it might have been shaped without you even realizing it, but it only sticks around because you let it. The moment you decide to change it on purpose and consistently, the universe takes notice. It doesn't care who you were yesterday. It reacts to who you are today. When you change what you put out there, the system recalibrates. You don't have to rewrite your entire life story in one go. Just start identifying with a version of you that feels more powerful, more at peace, and clearer. Not just saying the words, but really living it. Talk like that version, walk like them, think like them. Make those decisions not as a performance, but as a return to the true you, that truth that's been buried under all those past beliefs. When you step into that new identity, everything changes. Not later, but right away. The universe is always tuned into who you identify as first. You're not held back by a lack of opportunity. You're stuck in a cycle of identity. Break that cycle, and your reality has to shift. The world isn't the problem. It's the old version of you that is. And here's the great part. You can choose a new identity right now. What's normal can be rewritten, and once you do, everything else updates in real time. There are barriers in your life that aren't real. Roads you think are closed, doors you believe won't open, outcomes you think are just too far out of reach. These barriers aren't there because of fate or failure. They're held in place by assumptions. Quiet, subtle assumptions that shape how you see the world and what you think you can experience. These assumptions don't shout, they whisper. And because they've been there for so long, you might not even notice they aren't true. Remember, assumptions aren't facts, they just act like they are. They filter your perception, deciding what you see, ignore, chase after, or avoid without even realizing it. If you think people don't value your work, you'll overlook all the proof that they do. If you believe money is hard to get, you'll miss the simple ways it could come your way. The system doesn't fight your assumptions, it respects them. Your assumptions are part of your code. Many of those beliefs didn't even come from you. They are passed down from long-gone voices, filled with fear and picked up through repetition. Yet you live by them as if they are absolute rules, limiting what you decide and how you live. Your limitations feel logical, but they aren't really true. You've believed them for so long they've become invisible. That's where their power lies, in not being challenged. An assumption acts like a command. It doesn't verify if it's right, just if it's steady. If you keep thinking something won't work, the universe doesn't argue. It simply echoes your belief, showing outcomes that match. This isn't cruelty, it's just how things comply. The system aligns perfectly with your internal beliefs. So if you keep hitting the same wall in life, it's not that reality is unchangeable. It's that you're still following an old script that insists it must be this way. But here's the thing. Once you spot an assumption, you can let it go. You can challenge that invisible agreement. Ask yourself, who said this had to be true? What if the opposite could also happen? What changes if I stop expecting the worst? The moment you start thinking differently, everything begins to shift. Assumptions only stay solid in silence. Bring them into the light, and the landscape starts to change. The biggest breakthroughs don't come from learning something new, but from realizing that something you thought was true never really was. When those beliefs crumble, what seemed impossible starts to feel clear. Not because the world morphed, but because you stopped restricting it. You weren't meant to stay confined by outdated beliefs. Questioning, unlearning, and updating your mindset is your true path. And when you do, the universe responds. As soon as you release that false belief, the way forward opens up. Not because you forced it, but because it was always there, just waiting for you to notice. Sometimes, things happen that defy the usual rules. A conversation flows perfectly, a thought suddenly comes to life, or a memory feels like it belongs to someone else. Time bends, things vanish, then reappear in ways that are hard to explain. These aren't mistakes, they're spiritual glitches. They show the edges of the reality you usually see. And when these moments happen, they're not signs something's wrong. They're clues that something deeper is awakening. You live in a universe that responds to your beliefs. Most of the time, everything seems stable and predictable, but occasionally a crack shows up, not to alarm you, but to signal growth. Don't let it scare you. Instead, see it as a reminder that the framework you've been relying on is a bit shaky. A spiritual glitch is like a hiccup in your usual way of being. It's a moment when your awareness speeds ahead of your old programming, and the world struggles to keep pace. These moments don't mean something's wrong with you. they show you're tapping into something beyond the usual script. Many people brush off these experiences. They shake their heads and move on, trying to explain it away. But you feel it, don't you? That lift in reality, how it suddenly feels lighter, more fluid, more open. That's real, not just in your head. It's the universe adjusting as your vibe rises beyond what you thought was possible. And sometimes, as this happens, odd things pop up, not mistakes, but echoes. You might see repeating numbers or feel a heavy déjà vu, moments that seem familiar but never really happened. These aren't just coincidences, they're invitations. The universe is gently nudging you, showing that the line between thought and reality is getting thinner. The rules you thought were set in stone, they're actually flexible. The gap between what's inside you and the world outside is starting to dissolve. So don't freak out. These glitches are clues that you're becoming more aware of what's been happening around you. When it happens, instead of questioning your sanity, take a moment. Reflect on what you were feeling or thinking right before that glitch hit. It's often when an old part of you breaks away and something new slips in. This shift isn't just happening to you, it's happening through you. These spiritual hiccups remind you that the world isn't a rigid place moving without your say-so. It's like a living simulation that reacts to your signals, real time. When things glitch, it means your upgrade is underway. The part of you that clung to those old rules is fading. So don't be afraid of the strangeness. Embrace it. It's the universe giving you a wink, a sign that you're evolving beyond what you once thought possible. The glitch is a crack in the surface. Your next level is waiting to emerge. There might be a loop that feels safe, logical, even productive. But guess what? That can be the very thing holding you back from creating what you want, making it sound like you'll feel better once it all happens, or thinking you need just one more sign. Once everything aligns, I'll move forward. This waiting game feels tempting, wrapped in a disguise of patience and preparation. But underneath, it's really just hesitation, hiding as strategy. You're waiting for permission, for proof, for certainty before stepping into the person who doesn't need to wait anymore. The truth is tough but clear. You're not waiting on that thing. It's actually waiting for you to step up. You need to become the version of yourself that feels whole even before it arrives. When you place your power in some future moment, you trap yourself in a loop. The system responds accordingly. You say, "I'm waiting," and reality replies, "Then wait you shall." This loop feeds itself. The more you wait, the more your future feels distant, like a mirage that disappears as you draw near. What many miss is that waiting isn't neutral. It carries an energy of delay and lack. You might be visualizing, affirming, dreaming of what you desire, but if deep down you're still waiting, the system mirrors that sense of absence. You're not commanding, you're stalling, signaling to the universe, "Not yet." The loop breaks the moment you decide it's already yours. Not because it's in your hands, but because it's part of your energy. You feel it, you know it, you act as if it's true. You sync with the version of you who doesn't wait, because in their reality, it's already done. And when you align with that, you collapse time, bringing the outcome into the now. You don't shatter the loop through force, you do it with a decision. You choose to stop rehearsing a life where the prize is always just out of reach. The universe doesn't reward good behavior, it responds to harmony. When your inner state ceases to wait, the outer world follows suit. You weren't meant to wait around to feel aligned. You're meant to walk into it with confidence. Not because you can see it, but because you've become it. Waiting is like a spell, a sneaky one. The moment you see through it, you realize you've been holding the pause button the whole time. You can let it go now. Step out of the loop and embrace the reality that's been waiting for you to stop waiting. You weren't born believing in scarcity. It was something you learned, shown to you over and over until it felt normal. At some point, you started linking survival with struggle, safety with sacrifice, and your worth with how much you could prove or earn. This isn't your fault, but it's become your pattern. As long as you hold on to this belief of lack, your reality will reflect it back to you, over and over, without fail. Lack isn't just about money, it's a mindset, a way of seeing the world. It colors your relationships, your time, your opportunities, and even how you perceive yourself. It whispers that there's never enough, that someone else has more, that you're falling behind or don't deserve good things. When you believe these thoughts, you start acting on them. Your desires shrink, you hesitate, you settle, and the belief system adjusts your reality to match those thoughts of scarcity. The universe doesn't punish you, it simply reflects what you expect. When you anticipate not enough, you find proof everywhere. When you brace for loss, the stage is set. You think you're being cautious, but you're actually sending out signals of limitation. The longer you run this program, the more it feels like truth. You stop questioning it because it's all you know. But remember, lack isn't a law, it's something you learned. It's a program you picked up, not a truth you must keep. And just like any code, it can be rewritten. Not by hustling harder or waiting longer, but with awareness and the choice to stop starting from a place of absence. The change starts when you realize worthiness isn't something to earn, it's something to rediscover. You unlearn scarcity by choosing not to make it your default. You stop making decisions in fear, stop shrinking to meet expectations, and stop thinking good things come slowly or not at all. Instead, you tune into sufficiency, into feeling like you have enough, becoming the person who doesn't need to prove anything to receive everything. You practice abundance. Even if your bank account hasn't caught up yet, you embody wealth in your mind before it appears in your life. You flip the script. The universe doesn't care if your energy comes from memories or dreams. It just cares that it's consistent. So you practice. You train your nervous system to feel calm instead of anxious. You speak from a place of already having, not from constant need. You remind yourself every day, lack is not my nature. There was a time I thought everything around me was the reason for my feelings. But now I see the truth. You're not here to keep playing the same old story. You're meant to create a new one, a story that doesn't start with what you lack, but with what's always been inside you. You weren't made to live in fear of not having enough. You were made to show the world what happens when you stop making excuses for your abundance. And that starts now. It's easy to think that what stirs us comes from outside ourselves. We assume a harsh comment makes us angry, a compliment makes us happy, or a situation makes us scared. But that's just the illusion of what we call external triggers. It feels real because it seems clear-cut. Something happens, then we react. But the truth is, reality is poking at the patterns we already have inside us. The event isn't the cause. It's simply what activates those feelings. Triggers are like mirrors, not weapons. They don't create emotions. They show us what's already there. That sudden surge of jealousy or that wave of insecurity didn't just pop up out of nowhere. They're old feelings surfacing, giving you a chance to rewrite your story. When you think the trigger is the problem, you end up trying to change the world instead of changing yourself. You're blaming the mirror for what it reflects, forgetting it's just a reflection, not the source. This system we're in, it's meant to bring our inner feelings to light, not to punish us, but to help us see what we need to work on. External events are like feedback loops, showing us the emotions and beliefs that often run quietly in the background. What you see as a problem, it's usually a sign, a perfect moment to uncover the patterns you're ready to let go of. That's why people keep facing the same issues with different faces. It's not that the universe is broken, it's doing its job. It's sending out the same signals until you, the operator, decide to change the tune. The moment you stop reacting and start observing, that loop begins to fade away. Suddenly, you're no longer a victim of the triggers. Instead, you're the one rewiring what gets triggered in the first place. This isn't about ignoring your feelings. It's about realizing you can feel deeply without losing your power to what sparked those feelings. You can feel sad without blaming the weather. You can face fear without waiting for the situation to change. First off, your reactions are entirely yours. The feelings, they belong to you, not to what's happening around you. And when you come to realize this, you start to take charge of your inner world. The idea that outside things trigger you is just a layer of illusion. Once that lifts, life shifts. It's not just hitting you, it's flowing through you. You stop waiting for peace to come from somewhere out there. Instead, you create it. You decide. And when triggers show up, they lose their power over you. They turn into gateways, not enemies. They're no longer hurdles but reflections. revealing what still needs healing. When you recognize them for what they truly are, they stop defining your story. You aren't just reacting anymore, you're actively rewriting it. Sometimes life shakes things up not to break you, but to reset you. A plan crumbles, someone walks away, or your usual routine gets disrupted. Your first instinct might be to fight it, to fix it, and get back to the way things were. But what if this shakeup isn't a failure? What if it's a reboot? A big system refresh to clear out old stuff and make way for the new. In the moment, it might seem chaotic, but underneath, everything is being rewritten. You're a living signal. Your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs continuously shape your reality. Over time, some patterns run so often that they turn into automatic responses, cycles of scarcity, loops of doubt. When these no longer serve you, the system steps in. Not as punishment, but as a necessary disruption. It hits like a glitch, but really, it's an opportunity to update your life's core system. The universe doesn't talk in words, it speaks through movement. When nothing makes sense, when familiar tools just don't work anymore, and clarity fades away, that's not a failure. It's a transition. It means your previous self has hit a limit. The way you used to vibrate has been outgrown. Now the structure around you needs to fall apart so something greater can rise. This is not a breakdown. It's making room. Most people panic at this point. They scramble for control, rush to rebuild, attempt to recreate the past. But the more you hold on to what was, the more the system slows you down. Not to frustrate you, but to show you that the old script can't handle the new upgrade you're meant to embrace. Your connection to how things look is what lets the field change how they work. This calls for letting go. The reboot isn't about fixing anything, it's about getting back to clarity. It's about returning to the frequency that shows your best self. Disruption clears away the noise. It reveals what was never solid to begin with. It shakes loose the habits you never thought to question. And in the quiet that follows, something deeper emerges. Vision, truth, resonance. You don't have to fear these moments. You need to embrace them. Listen to what the disruption is telling you. Is it asking for more presence, more trust, a new identity, or a fresh direction? The system isn't pushing you away. It's opening you up. But it won't show you the next version of yourself until you fully let go of the old one. Once you stop resisting the stillness, the reboot wraps up. What comes back isn't what you lost. It's what you were meant to live, but couldn't receive with the old code. Disruption isn't your enemy. It's the architect. Let it do its thing, and the next chapter of your life won't just load slowly, but clearly, cleanly, and in perfect alignment. Trauma doesn't vanish when the event is over. It lingers in the system, not just as memory, but as instruction. The experience embeds itself in your subconscious, shaping how you see the world, how you behave, and what you believe. You start building your reality on a twisted script drafted in moments of fear, overwhelm, or pain. Trauma becomes code, and if it doesn't get rewritten, it distorts how you view everything. The mind is wired to protect. When something traumatic happens, it doesn't merely file it away. It learns. It makes conclusions like, it's not safe to trust, or attention brings pain. These aren't logical thoughts. They're energetic. They become part of your inner operating system, quietly running in the background. You might not remember when it all started, but that code continues to shape your reality. That's why healing isn't about forgetting. It's about discovering the program you didn't realize was there. If you still react with panic in safe situations, avoid opportunities for no clear reason, or push people away while desperately wanting connection, you're not broken, you're coded. And the system respects that coding with incredible unconscious accuracy. Your code doesn't erase old patterns, it reflects them. If you believe that closeness means danger, your relationships will feel unsafe or distant. Not because you want it that way, but because that's what feels normal to you. Your inner programming shows what's familiar before anything else, including what you truly desire. Trauma isn't just in your feelings, it's in your beliefs. Those beliefs quietly teach the world how to engage with you. But here's the good news. You can rewrite that code. Sure, the past might not have been your choice, but you have the power to update it. When you bring awareness to those old patterns, they start to lose their hold on you. You start seeing your beliefs not as truth, but as survival tools. That's when everything changes. Instead of asking, Why am I this way? You begin to wonder, what am I still protecting myself from? And when you explore that, healing happens on a deeper level. It's not about fixing who you are, it's about reprogramming yourself. Talk to your younger self, the one who made those early agreements. Tell them the danger is over. Fill that old hurt with love instead of fear. When your body feels safe, it sends out new signals, and reality starts to shift. Trauma may shape your story, but it doesn't dictate your future. You're not the pain that shaped you. You are the awareness that's rewriting the script. Every time you choose trust over fear, openness over defense, or calm over panic, you're not just healing. You're crafting a new signal that shouts to the universe, I'm ready for something new. And the universe responds. Scarcity isn't just about money. It's a hidden script influencing your thoughts. It shapes how you view time, love, opportunities, and even your own worth. It whispers that there's not enough of anything: support, time, chances, or even you. Once you accept that, your reality reflects those thoughts back at you. The system doesn't challenge your beliefs, it accepts them, turning those fears into your truth. This scarcity mindset is old, woven into families, economies, religions, and cultures. It teaches you to compete instead of trust, to hold on tightly instead of letting go, and to measure everything in fear. When you start calculating every risk instead of just going with the flow, you stop creating and begin hoarding. The world starts to feel like a place where you earn safety by being anxious, and success seems to require a constant struggle. But scarcity? It's not how things are meant to be. Look at the sky, the ocean, or even how many leaves sprout from a single tree. Abundance is the universe's natural language. Scarcity is a twist, and like any twist, it can be reversed. First, you need to recognize the script you've been following. Pay attention to those moments when you hold back your desires, trying to keep them sensible. Catch those thoughts telling you it's too much or that you can't have that. Those aren't instincts. They're old beliefs dressed up as practicality. Changing the scarcity narrative isn't about being reckless. It's about having trust. Trust that there's more support out there than you've been led to believe. Trust that you can create from joy instead of desperation. Trust that letting go doesn't mean losing. It opens you up to something better. The more you act from a place of abundance, even when common sense says otherwise, the more you'll see life for what it is: generous, responsive, infinite. You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. Just stop feeding the old pattern. Speak from possibility. Make one choice that shows faith instead of fear. Give without strings attached. Rest without feeling guilty. Ask without saying you're sorry. These aren't just nice ideas, they're declarations to the universe. They say, I'm done with the scarcity script. I'm ready to receive what aligns with my true self, not who I was conditioned to be. The universe pays attention not just to what you say, but to the energy you project. When you stop narrating your life from a place of lack, reality stops mirroring what's missing. You'll start spotting opportunities where you once saw barriers. You'll feel whole before the signs even show up. That's the shift. Not more effort, just more trust in who you already are. Scarcity was just a spell, but awareness is the remedy. Now that you see it, you can choose something new. This script is yours to rewrite. Not everything you're emitting is genuinely yours. Some of it is learned, some absorbed. Some of it was set during moments of fear and pain. Those are the remnants still ghosting your signal. Memories and borrowed beliefs that linger, even though the original triggers are long gone. They introduce themselves through the way you react, your habits, and your patterns. If you don't pay attention, you might confuse them with the truth. You wake up feeling anxious for no reason. You hesitate to ask for more, even though deep down, you know you deserve it. You self-sabotage when things start to flow. These aren't flaws. They're echoes, leftover energy from past versions of yourself or others who influenced you. A parent's scarcity mindset, a teacher's harsh words, a heartbreak that made you decide it was safer not to try again. These moments leave marks, and those marks interfere with your energy. The algorithm doesn't differentiate, it just reacts to your signal. If your signal is jumbled, reality reflects that chaos. You might say you attract abundance, but the shadow of unworthiness still colors your vibe. You might seek connection, but fear of betrayal lingers just beneath the surface. The universe doesn't know past from present. it mirrors your full vibration. What you carry, even unconsciously, shapes what you experience. Not because something is wrong with you, but because you're still resonating with what no longer serves you. But here's the good news. Ghosts can't thrive in the now. The moment you notice them, their influence starts to fade. You catch the pattern before it unfolds. You recognize that old voice isn't really you, and you choose not to follow it. Pausing when that reaction kicks in allows you to align with something better. That's when the cycle breaks. Not because you've gotten rid of the ghost, but because you've seen it. Clearing your signal isn't about being perfect. It's about being aware. It's about honestly asking yourself, is this really mine? When you feel resistance or fear, or any story that keeps you small, honor that part of yourself that built those defenses. But also remind yourself they're no longer needed. You aren't the version of you that had to survive like that anymore. The system is ready for a new signal. Your power comes back the moment you own your voice. When you stop allowing old ghosts to dictate your story. When you choose to resonate with the version of you that doesn't drag the past around like an anchor. The ghosts might still try to speak up, but you don't have to listen. Just keep broadcasting the truth of who you're becoming, and soon enough, the static will fade and the field will clear. Respond and reality will only show you what's currently there, not what's been. Many folks live in a loop without realizing it. It's subtle, masked as growth, and wrapped in good intentions. You might say things like, once I'm ready, I'll start, or when they validate me, I'll believe it, or if I get the chance, then I'll show who I really am. This is the permission loop, waiting for something outside to confirm what is already true within you. As long as you keep waiting for that permission, the system just sends back more delays. It's not punishment, it's just a reflection of you looking outside for what's always yours. You weren't born to ask for a green light. You were born to remember that you are the green light. But the loop tricks you into thinking otherwise. It teaches you to tie action to approval, expression to permission, worth to recognition. So you hold back, you hesitate, dimming your light while waiting for someone or something to say it's safe to shine. And in doing that, you train the world to match your hesitation. The system doesn't give power to those who ask for it. It reflects those who know they have it. That's why some people move faster than others. It's not about being more talented or prepared. They simply stopped asking for permission. They decided they already are. They didn't wait for proof. They embraced the identity that doesn't need it. That choice creates a harmony that the system can finally respond to. When your inner voice is still saying, I'm waiting, the world echoes with silence. But when your message shifts to, I've already chosen, everything changes. The irony is that most of what you think you're waiting for, you already are. You're not waiting to feel powerful. You're just looking for the safety to admit that you are. You're not waiting to be seen. You're waiting to give yourself permission to be visible. Opportunities, audiences, and recognition, they're not the source. They've always been the mirror. And mirrors don't move first. You do. You don't need more credentials, more validation, or more time. You need to change who writes your story. Step out of the loop where everything feels conditional and step into the truth that your existence is the condition. You're not becoming something in the future. You're revealing what's always been there. The more you practice showing up from this place, the more the world aligns with it. You stop hitting the brakes the moment you start just being. No one is going to come and give you the green light. That was never their job. Only you can let go of the brakes. And when you do, you'll see the door was never locked. The room was always open. The spotlight has been on you. You just hadn't stepped into it yet. Permission isn't something you wait to get. It's something you realize you've always had. Now is when the cycle ends. Most people think they need to kickstart their lives from square one. They get stuck on the struggle, the gaps, the steps they believe they have to follow. They plan based on where they are, not on where they want to be. But here's the thing. The algorithm of life doesn't react to your process. It responds to your presence. It reflects how you feel, not your plans. Everything changes when you stop coding from the problems and begin from the end state. That end state isn't just a goal. It's the part of you that already exists within the life you want. It's not just a dream, it's a feeling. The second you tap into it, even for a brief moment, you start rewriting the code life reads. Instead of saying, I want this, you're declaring, this is who I am. And that shifts everything. A lot of delay comes from thinking you need to earn things that can only be claimed. You feel like you have to prove yourself before anything happens. But being ready isn't a requirement. It's simply a side effect of who you become. When you transform into the person who already has what you desire, the steps you thought mattered begin to rearrange. Time shrinks, resistance fades, and life organizes itself to match your new vibe. You've witnessed this before. The moment you stop chasing love and start feeling it, someone comes into your life. When you let go of money worries and embrace trust and abundance, opportunities show up. That's not just luck, that's alignment. The universe recognizes your input. The end state speaks through how you live. You don't just think about it, you embody it. You walk like someone who knows, speak like you've arrived, and take actions not to earn your place but because you already feel at home within it. And the world can't help but follow your lead, not because you forced it, but because you became it. This isn't about faking it, it's about aligning with who you truly are. Ask yourself, if I already had this, how would I think, breathe, move, and choose? Then let your energy guide you before your mind gets in the way. Life doesn't just happen by chance, it's shaped by who we are. Your identity isn't a distant goal, it's right here, right now. Instead of waiting for things to change, you can shift the script. You're not pleading with reality to give you what you want. You're commanding it through your actions. You're not meant to walk ahead, hoping the future will judge you kindly. You're meant to embody your future today, allowing the world to mirror that confidence back to you. The universe responds to signals, not stories. The strongest signal you can send is simply, I already am. When you believe this, the reflection is instant and clear. Your reality isn't built on random thoughts. It's woven from consistent patterns of expectations and beliefs. Everything you do comes through the lens of your assumptions. These assumptions create invisible coding that form the rules of your life. Most people don't realize they're crafting their own story. They think they're just observing, but they're actually projecting their beliefs onto everything around them. If you believe you'll be overlooked, you'll start filtering out signs of your own value. If you think you can't trust others, you'll subconsciously create situations to confirm that belief. It's not that life is unfair, it's just the background code running its course. Assumptions can be quiet. They don't shout, they whisper. Small thoughts like, of course this didn't work out, or of course I wasn't chosen, may seem innocent, but they're not just comments, they're commands. Once you repeat them enough, the universe takes them as truth and starts shaping your reality accordingly. The risk is that these assumptions feel true because you've lived them before, forgetting that they were created, repeated, and reinforced over time. The code doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's just a habit. It takes in whatever you give it, and if you keep running the same assumption over and over, the results start to look like facts. That's why you keep facing the same situations, not because you're stuck, but because the underlying code hasn't changed to reflect a new reality. You don't need to fight with your thoughts. You just need to update the beliefs that they come from. What if, instead of expecting delays, you expected things to go smoothly? What if, rather than thinking you'd be rejected, you assumed you'd find your place? What if your of course shifted to, of course it worked out, of course I am supported, of course I belong? The compiler doesn't care if your assumption is positive or negative. It just puts together what you give it. You aren't controlled by your past assumptions anymore. You're the one crafting them now. And the moment you change those foundational beliefs, your life starts to change, often immediately. The holdup isn't in the universe, it's in the way you think. Change your assumption, and your outcomes will adjust to match that, because the compiler reflects you, not restricts you. When you feed it a new belief with confidence, the system pays attention and shapes your reality to fit. You've been trained to gauge what's possible based on what's likely, using stats, logic, and past experiences to decide what can happen. This conditioning runs so deep that many don't even notice they're doing it. They tone down their dreams before they even voice them and settle for goals that fit what seems realistic. But the universe you live in doesn't work by chance. It responds to alignment. With alignment, what seems unlikely can become unavoidable. Probability is a mental tool based on past averages, but creation isn't about the past, it's about the now. It doesn't seek approval from history, but direction from your frequency. When you rely on probability, you limit yourself to average results, blending in with the predictable crowd. But when you rise above that and act from the realm of possibility instead of likelihood, you enter a new level of existence, one where extraordinary outcomes are born not from chance, but from embodying your desires. This is why so many breakthroughs don't follow logic. You see that overnight success that comes after years of personal work, the surprising healings, the perfect timing. Alignment happened unexpectedly. It wasn't luck, it was precision. These were people who stopped calculating and began creating. They didn't let their past define their future. When you doubt something is possible, you weaken your signal. You blur the clarity of your intentions. You might still want it, but now you're torn. Part of you envisions success while another part prepares for failure. The universe only responds to your strongest signal. That's why many wishes seem delayed. They aren't denied. They're tangled in doubt. To rise above probability, you need to stop checking the chances and start being the exception. You don't need to know how it's going to happen. You don't need others' approval or proof. What you need first is alignment. Hold tight to the frequency of your goal and don't water it down to fit someone else's idea of what's reasonable. The moment you do, the universe softens its response and reflects your doubts instead of your decisions. You were made to create beyond the ordinary. You're meant to shake things up, change timelines, and bring about unexpected outcomes, not through force, but through clear intention. Let others assess the odds. You can rewrite them. Let others stay on the safe path. You become the exception. The universe is unconcerned with probabilities. It seeks clarity. When you live as if the impossible is already real, reality has no choice but to align with you, not because it must, but because you commanded it. This power doesn't come from the mind, but from the energy and confidence that defy numbers. Delays aren't due to time, they arise from a scattered focus. When your energy is divided, your signal weakens. When your beliefs waver, your messages get muddled. The universe doesn't respond to confusion. It waits patiently to reflect what it receives. That's why certainty is a powerful accelerator. It doesn't force outcomes, it clears the noise. Once you stop wishing and start knowing, things shift immediately. Certainty isn't loud. It doesn't shout or beg for attention. It's calm, grounded, and unwavering. It simply states, it's done, and means it. No fallback plans, no negotiating timelines, no emotional pleas, just a steady conviction. The truth can hit you so hard that it becomes impossible to ignore. When your inner thoughts sync up, waiting just fades away. Things that seem distant start to show up, and resistance melts into possibility. The outside world begins to align with your new vibe, one without doubt. Many folks think they're being patient, but really, they're just holding back. They say, visualize your dream and take action. But deep down, they're unsure, and that uncertainty messes things up. You can't create solid ground on shaky foundations. The universe respects alignment above all. Certainty isn't being cocky, it's about being in sync. It's when your thoughts, feelings, and who you are all point the same way. No more tug of war between wanting something and doubting it. The question shifts from will it happen to who am I now that it's already mine? And when you step into that identity, waiting doesn't make sense anymore. You stop chasing and start sharing your success. You know that feeling when doubt finally disappears, not because you're worn out, but because you embrace the truth. In that moment, things start to shift. It's not that you tried harder, but that you stopped splitting your energy. The universe doesn't change. You do. You don't need more time. You need to be in sync. You don't need another sign. You need to become the sign. When you act like it's already yours, not just a daydream, but a real inner truth, the world starts rearranging itself. People change. Opportunities show up, not from magic, but because you commanded it. Certainty isn't just a mood, it's a state, a vibration that tells reality, I'm not waiting, I've already arrived. And then, the universe reflects that back at you. clear and immediate. The moment you stop wavering, reality has no reason to hesitate. The mirror shifts the instant you do. Faith has often been misunderstood. It's not just a hopeful wish. It's not vague. It's sharp focus. It's a strong, unwavering signal that tells the field exactly what to create. Real faith isn't about not having doubts. It's about not sharing them with the world. It's not simply about waiting for proof. It's about becoming the proof yourself. Quantum systems react to alignment, not to mixed signals. True faith aligns with what you can't see yet but believe is real. It resonates with a result that already exists, even before you see it. It's not about persuading the universe. It's about tuning into your energy so well that the universe reflects it back to you. Many people swing between belief and doubt, sending jumbled messages. One moment they're sure, and the next they're unsure. This back and forth disrupts the process of creation. You don't need flawless belief, just steady belief. Not as a performance, but as a truth. It's less about feelings and more about a consistent underlying vibe. You've felt this before, right? That moment when you knew something was yours, not because you could see it, but because you just felt it was inevitable. You stopped searching and relaxed into that certainty. That's quantum faith. It doesn't beg or seek proof. It declares the outcome before it happens. In the quantum realm, time doesn't matter. Everything exists now as potential. Your faith doesn't pull the future closer. It adjusts your signal to match a reality where that future already exists. It's not magic, it's science. The clearer your faith, the stronger your signal. And a stronger signal means quicker results. Faith isn't a waiting period, it's a way of being. It's the program that says, I've already made my choice. The system, precise and obedient, starts to manifest that command. No delays, no second guessing, just action. You're not waiting for the universe to give you what you want. The universe is waiting for your frequency to become solid. Faith isn't just hoping something might happen. It's the inner belief that it already has. When you maintain that frequency long enough, reality aligns, not by chance, but by design. Because the universe wasn't just listening to your words, it was waiting to see if you would truly align with that belief. And when you do, that's when the magic happens. Everything changes in an instant, not gradually. Most people think decisions are just mental choices, picking one option over another based on logic or preference. But in the real world of creating your reality, a decision is dimensional. When you decide fully, your whole reality shifts. It's not about the outside catching up. It's about your consciousness stepping into a new timeline where the life you want is already unfolding. Making a decision isn't just about moving towards something. It's about becoming the person who already lives that life. You can feel the difference. There's one type of decision where you say you'll try and see what happens, still hesitating on the edge. That's not a real decision. It's indecision dressed in hope. Then there's the other kind. It's the decision that changes how you feel inside, the one where everything clicks. You just know, without needing proof, that everything is adjusting around you. That's a dimensional shift. When you make that kind of decision, the universe shifts instantly. Opportunities, people, events, and timelines respond right away. You might not see the full effect immediately, but the change is there because the universe doesn't wait for you to figure things out. It just waits for you to stop hesitating and commit. Once you do, clarity becomes your new guide. Many people stall in life, not because they lack choices, but because they're afraid to decide. They hover between who they were and who they want to be, holding on to the past while peeking into the future. They hesitate to close one door until the next one opens. But that's not how energy works. The universe reflects your conviction. It responds to clear signals, not mixed messages. A true decision sends out a powerful frequency. It's clear and unmistakable. It doesn't wait for approval. It gives approval. That's why timelines can collapse in an instant. What once felt impossible becomes obvious, and what seemed distant can show up unexpectedly. The world around you changes because you're no longer sending out signals of uncertainty. You're now projecting the energy of a reality where the outcome is certain. Decision isn't about forcing things to happen. It's about choosing to be the version of you who doesn't wait for it to happen. And when you live from that mindset, the world adjusts accordingly. You pushed harder, and by stopping the back and forth, you took a major leap forward. You don't need to know every detail of what's coming next. You just have to commit fully to your choice, not just in words, but in how you carry yourself. Make your decision felt in your energy, your posture, your actions. Once you do that, the shift happens. The universe isn't waiting for your perfect timing. It's waiting for your signal. Deciding is everything. The life you want is just one decision away. Now, surrender often gets a bad rap. People think it means giving up or admitting defeat. But real surrender, it isn't passive. It's powerful. It's when you stop fighting against the current and start going with the flow of what's already happening. Surrender doesn't end your effort. It ends pointless struggle. It's not about stepping back. It's about finding your alignment. Surrender isn't what you do when all else fails. It's what you embrace when you finally grasp how everything ticks. You're in a smart field that reacts to your state of being. When you try to micromanage everything or force life to fit your plan, you create friction. The universe doesn't respond to control. It responds to clarity. And that clarity, it comes from surrendering. It's about trusting that what's happening is part of a bigger picture, something your mind is still catching up with. Surrender isn't about abandoning action. It's about letting go of the struggle. When you stop fighting reality, reality softens. What you've been after starts moving toward you. What you've been forcing begins to unlock. This shift happens not because you gave up, but because you let go. The system doesn't need your control to work. It needs your alignment. There's a structure to surrender. It isn't chaos or inaction. It's about trust. It's saying, I know who I am and what I want. I don't need to cling, beg, or chase. I trust what's meant for me is already on its way. That inner state creates a space where everything outside can thrive, where timing becomes perfect, and where effort feels effortless instead of draining. The issue isn't wanting, it's holding that desire in a way that screams lack. Surrender says, I still want this, but I won't hold it hostage to my peace. Stop using delays as a reason to doubt. I've moved past thinking that control is safer than trust. When you make that change, you let go of the noise and become a clear signal. Life starts to reflect that clarity. Remember that moment when you released your worries? Suddenly the phone rang and solutions popped up. The things you were holding on to often return, often in a better form. It's not random, it's the universe reacting to a new command, I trust. When trust becomes your foundation, it changes how you experience life. Surrender isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of wisdom. It's not about backing down, it's about finding your alignment. The universe doesn't need you to force things. It needs you to relax and trust that the next step is already written. When you surrender, you aren't falling behind. Instead, you reconnect with the part of you that's always in the flow. There's a big difference between control and command, yet most people mix them up. Control comes from fear. It's rigid and reactive, built on the belief that if you don't hold on tight enough, everything will fall apart. Command, however, is rooted in knowing. It's calm and clear, not needing to manipulate outcomes because it realizes that the universe responds to presence, not pressure. You can grasp for control out of desperation, or you can command from a place of alignment. The outcomes are worlds apart. Control tries to manage every small detail, constantly watching and second-guessing, wearing itself thin trying to make reality conform. But reality doesn't succumb to control, it bends to resonance. The more you try to dominate, the more you create resistance inside yourself. You're not crafting your life, you're strangling the signal. And the more you do it, the less responsive the universe becomes. It waits, not to punish you, but because it can't interpret a fractured frequency. Command doesn't require pushing, it's the calm in the center of a storm. It asserts, this is my reality, and moves accordingly. It doesn't chase, doesn't double-check, and doesn't ask for permission. Command acts like it's already done because, in the universe, it is. The system doesn't react to tension, it reacts to tone, and the tone of command is unmistakable. Think about someone you've met who walked into a room and instantly changed the vibe. They didn't speak louder or dominate, they just were. That's the energy of command. It sends out clarity, it speaks clearly. When you stop trying to convince others, everything around you starts to align effortlessly. It's not because you're controlling things, but because now life gets a clear signal to arrange itself. Here's the twist. The more you try to control, the less control you actually have. Control comes from thinking you're separate from everything around you. On the other hand, command is about realizing that everything is responding to you. When you shift from control to command, your actions become easier. You stop worrying about every little detail and chasing after perfect outcomes. It's about feeling aligned rather than needing everything to look flawless. And when that alignment is there, you move with calm focus. This doesn't mean you sit back and do nothing. It means you act from a different space altogether. You're not forcing something to happen. You're stepping into something that already exists. Control battles against reality, while command works with it. You don't need to force things. You need to raise your energy and hold on to the feeling of completion. That's what the universe responds to, not your worries or frantic efforts, but your presence. You weren't designed to beg for things or behave in a certain way. You were made to command your life with confidence. The moment you truly embrace that, everything shifts. Not because you pushed it, but because you let go of that need. That's the essence of command. It doesn't pull, it attracts effortlessly and precisely. You could do all the right things, recite affirmations, visualize your goals, meditate, and take inspired actions. But if your identity hasn't changed, neither will your situation. Under every thought and action lies a deeper belief, your identity. It's not just what you say about yourself when you feel good, it's who you believe you are when things slow down. That belief is always on, and it shapes the way the universe responds. If your actions show growth, but deep down you still believe, I'm not the kind of person who gets what they want, then life will keep reflecting that back to you. It's not about fairness, it's just how things work. The universe pays attention to who you really are, not just what you do. Many people try to create change without updating that inner belief. They want to build a new life on the shaky ground of their old self. If you're still running on an old identity that feels unworthy and unsupported, no matter how great your intentions are, it'll show in your results. It's not sabotage, it's just how things sync up. You can't outshine your identity, but you can change it. It won't happen overnight, and it's not just about willpower, but through practice, awareness, and truly owning it. Start by paying attention to the stories you share casually, how you describe your limits, and how you view your role in a group. These aren't just habits, they're messages. Each one reinforces a part of you. The moment you start shifting your identity, not just in your thoughts, but in your actions and beliefs, everything starts to listen. It doesn't take time, it needs alignment. When you begin to act like the person who already has the life you want, not just dreaming, but really feeling and doing it, opportunities pop up. They were always there, but your old identity kept you from noticing them. You don't have to change everything at once. Pick one belief that fits the version of you that feels real, even if you've never lived it, and start acting accordingly. Speak and move from that belief until it feels natural, until you can't tell the difference between who you're practicing to be and who you truly are. Your identity isn't just your past, it's your ticket to new possibilities. The system isn't looking for proof, it's waiting for a new signal. When that signal changes, everything aligns to support your new self. You'll stop seeing reminders of who you used to be and begin to receive confirmation of who you've chosen to be. The hidden operator is always running, but now you're in control. Rewrite your identity, and everything else will follow. Most folks think change happens when they get an understanding, say the right things, or visualize their goals clearly. But understanding is just the spark. Words express intention, and visualization is a roadmap. None of it becomes real until it's lived out. Embodiment is where it all comes together. It's when the idea becomes action, when you stop just talking or planning and start actually being it without needing anyone's permission. Embodiment isn't a show or pretending until something happens. It's a natural flow from deep-seated beliefs that shift how you move, how you make choices, and ultimately create a whole new environment. There's a language around you that speaks volumes before you even say a word. When you really own something, it's not about reaching for it anymore. It's about carrying it. The universe isn't swayed by what you declare. It responds to what you actually show it. Embodying something is the clearest way to demonstrate your true self. You can tell yourself that you're abundant, but if you shrink at the sight of a bill, if your energy tightens around money, if fear shapes your choices, the universe doesn't hear your affirmation. It reads your signals. You could write out your dreams in perfect detail, but if your actions scream doubt or hesitation, that's what the universe reflects back to you. Reality pays no attention to your words. It's all about how you live. That's why some folks seem to create so easily. They aren't waiting for permission or a sign. They're living as the person who already has what they desire. They've shifted from simply thinking about it to commanding it. It's not that they know every little detail. It's that they've aligned their entire being with their goal. They've stopped waiting for outside sources to validate them and have begun expressing their true selves in every movement, every decision, and every interaction. Embodiment doesn't mean being perfect. It means being present. You connect with the energy of what you've chosen and let that shape your tone, your boundaries, your vibe. You become so drenched in the version of yourself that already has what you once longed for that the universe can't help but reflect that back at you. Once something is truly embodied, everything else follows. You don't need to push harder, you need to be clearer. And clarity comes from embodiment. It's not found in your journal or on a vision board. It's in the way you move through a room, the way you hold silence, the choices you make when no one's watching. That's the signal the universe picks up, and that's the code it acts on. You're not just here to think a new reality into being, you're here to embody it so completely that it has no choice but to become real. This isn't about doing more, it's about being more of who you already are, without excuses, without hesitation, and without delay. Embodiment is your bridge. Once you cross it, there's no going back. Only reflection, only confirmation, only reality catching up. Your nervous system isn't just a biological structure. It's how your consciousness connects to the universe. It turns your inner thoughts into electric signals, and those signals ripple out into the world around you. Your body's feelings, whether tight, relaxed, open, or reactive, aren't just random, they're data. It's like a language, and your system is always tuning in. Many people attempt to change their lives by shifting their thoughts, behaviors, or plans. But if the nervous system is still holding on to old patterns, expecting disappointment and staying on high alert, it's all jumbled. Even in calm moments, it's rehearsing stress. This internal noise messes up the message you send out, leading to mixed results, delays, and resistance. It's not that the universe is faulty, it's that your connection is cluttered. The body doesn't lie. You can recite affirmations all day long, but if you're breathing shallow, slouching, and feeling tight from tension or fear, what you're really broadcasting isn't trust, it's tension. And tension speaks of uncertainty, signaling, I don't feel safe, I'm not ready, I don't believe this is happening. The universe doesn't judge that. It simply reflects it back, mirroring your internal frequency. That's why stabilizing your nervous system is vital. It's a spiritual practice. Calming down isn't just about easing stress. It's about refining your signal. Every time you take a deep breath, relax instead of tense up, and feel without running away, you're improving that connection. You're clearing the channel. As you do that, what flows through you starts to shift. Safety isn't just an emotional state. It's a vibration. The universe doesn't deliver what you want. It gives you what you're prepared to hold. You don't receive peace just when everything settles down. You get peace when your body can actually accommodate it. That change opens new paths and clears away interference, allowing the next level of reality to reach you. The chaos of old conditioning fades away. Your nervous system doesn't need to be flawless. It just needs awareness. You have to recognize when it's activated and treat it gently, avoiding judgment. You need to create a new pattern, an updated way to approach joy, uncertainty, and success. Remember, the body keeps the score, but it also holds the code. You're not separate from the universe. You're always in conversation with it. Your nervous system is the keyboard, and each breath, pulse, and reaction is like a line of instruction. Learn to soothe it. You start to change the signal at its roots, not by pushing hard, but by being gentle. You're not using strategy, you're creating a safe space. The clearer your body, the clearer your message. And with a clearer message, you see your results quicker. You're not just a mind tossing thoughts into the air. You're a body sending out frequencies in a living space that's listening. The way your shoulders sit, how you breathe, how fast you walk, all of this is information. That information becomes your signal. Your body doesn't just reflect how you feel, it shows it. The way you stand tells the world what you think. Your posture isn't neutral. Your presence speaks volumes. Your body is intertwined with creation. It's where your influence starts. A lot of people try to change their reality just by thinking harder. They shift their thoughts, repeat affirmations, and picture better days. But if their body is stuck in survival mode, holding on to fear or tension, the energy field keeps echoing old patterns. What you manifest isn't just what you think, it's what your body believes. And those beliefs sit deep in your muscles, your nervous system, in the way energy flows through you. Your body tells the truth. You can say you're ready to embrace new opportunities, but if your chest collapses, your jaw is tight, or your stomach knots up when chances appear, you're still signaling fear. That tightness tells the universe, not safe, not now, not ready. The universe doesn't punish you for this, it simply waits. It won't override your signal because it respects your message too much. To change your reality, you need to shift how your body experiences it. You have to teach your body what it feels like to expand, even before the world gives you a reason to grow. Walk like the person who already has what they desire. Breathe like someone without doubts. Move like you have nothing to prove. Your body is a living interface, running its own code. You don't need to force change. Just pay attention. Where are you tightening up? Where are you holding back? Those moments when you hesitate to lean in, they're not failures. They show you where your old self still resides. As soon as you notice these areas and relax into new habits, your outcomes start to shift. It's not about just pretending. It's about truly being the version of you who lives in reality instead of acting it out. When you shift your mindset, everything changes. You're not stuck because of a lack of new thoughts. You're stuck because your body is still clinging to a version of you that's already gone. It's time to change your posture, shift your patterns, and change your presence. When you do that, the world around you will adjust. Remember, your body doesn't just exist in reality. It creates it all the time. Manifestation isn't just a mental exercise, it's a physical one too. Sure, you can think positive thoughts and affirm your dreams, but if your body is still bracing for letdowns, the signals get mixed up. The universe responds to your vibration, not just your ideas. This vibration isn't just energy, it's about how you feel, how you breathe, and how you hold yourself. It's how your body communicates safety, worth, and openness in every moment. This is somatic programming for manifestation. It's about retraining your body to match the life you want. Many of us hold on to old emotions like static stuck in our cells. Your nervous system remembers what your mind may have forgotten. The heartbreak, the rejections, those moments when things didn't go as planned, causing your body to tighten up. Those little reactions become habits, not because you're flawed, but because your body is smart. It learns expectations, preparing you for what it thinks is coming. But when this preparation becomes outdated, it leads to resistance, and that resistance pulls you off course. You can't create something new when your body is still acting out past experiences. That's why certain patterns keep showing up. You might say you're ready to accept help, but notice how your shoulders tense when someone offers support. You can picture abundance, yet your stomach knots at the thought of investing. Your mind might be clear, but if your body is still defensive, the universe pays more attention to your body than your words. The change needs to happen physically. You have to feel it, not just think about it. Somatic programming is all about aligning your body with your intentions. Start by noticing how your body reacts when you imagine your desires. Does it open up or close down? Does it relax or stiffen? That reaction is your current programming. Your goal isn't to criticize it, but to change it. Breathe into those tight spots, soften the defenses, and allow yourself to feel. Your body understands that it's safe to feel joy, to invite ease, and to accept love without any strings attached. Each time you practice holding a new emotion, you're actually installing a new program. Not through force, but through repetition. You're teaching your body how it feels to live in a state of abundance, love, and freedom, starting now, not later. Your body can't tell the difference between memories and imagination. If you give it those good feelings often enough, it will learn. And when your body learns, the universe responds. This isn't about avoiding old emotions. It's about creating stronger new ones that can take their place. You're not pretending to be at peace. You're practicing until it becomes your norm. Once your body aligns with this new state, manifesting becomes effortless. It's more like an echo. The universe reflects what your body holds. When your body is confident, life will deliver what you're ready to receive, not because you forced it, but because you genuinely felt ready to take it in. Remember, you're constantly sending a signal. Every second, your body is broadcasting a frequency that tells the universe what to mirror back. Many think of frequency as abstract, just a mental or emotional state. But the quickest way to shift your frequency is something you do every day without even thinking about it: your breath. Breath is like a volume control for your signal. When you learn to use it consciously, everything changes. Breath isn't just about getting oxygen, it's about sharing information. If you breathe in a shallow, fast way, high in your chest, your body feels threatened, preparing for stress and survival. The universe picks up on this and reflects back similar experiences: resistance, delays, and friction. You're not just feeling anxious, you're broadcasting that anxiety. You're not just breathless, you're cutting off your access to alignment. But when you breathe deeply, slowly, and mindfully, everything shifts. Your nervous system calms, your mind clears, and your body finds harmony. That harmony is what the universe responds to. The universe doesn't wait for your situation to change first. It waits for your signal to become steady. Your breath is the most powerful tool you have to stabilize that signal right now. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't have to fix everything right this minute or figure out how your dreams will come to you. You just need to breathe. Breathe in a way that says to your body, "We're safe, we're open, we're aligned." Just that simple change sends out a new vibe. That vibe becomes a fresh instruction. Life doesn't shift because you push it. It flows because your breath makes space for it. That's why the most grounded people often keep quiet. They don't rush to speak. They communicate from a place of calm. Their breathing is steady and their presence is strong. They're not trying to control anything. They embody alignment, and that alignment is magnetic. They're not chasing after things. They're receiving them. Their breath tunes their vibe to a reality where what they desire is already happening. Your breath is always there for you. You don't need a special mantra or ceremony. It just needs your focus. When you feel overwhelmed or scattered, take a moment to notice how you're breathing. That's the signal you're sending out, the tone that the universe is picking up. Change your breath and you change what you're broadcasting. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being aware. When you start using your breath not just to get by but to show who you're becoming, everything speeds up. The breath becomes a bridge connecting your inner state to the quantum field. Once you learn to adjust your frequency with presence, you stop reacting and start creating. Not later, not eventually, right now, with your next inhale and exhale. Emotions aren't random. They aren't obstacles or flaws needing control or repression. Emotions are data, frequencies carrying messages to the universe. Every emotion you let yourself feel is part of the signal you send out. That signal is the language the universe understands. You're not just reacting to life, you're coding it with your feelings. A lot of people think they need to feel good all the time to get what they want. But this isn't about faking happiness or forcing smiles. The universe isn't impressed by performance, it responds to precision. Authentic emotions, held consciously, send out a clear, strong signal. The truer you feel, the smoother the energy flows through you, leading to a clearer reflection. On the flip side, suppressed emotions create static. They scramble the signal, leading to chaos, stuckness, or confusion. You're feeling broken, but here's the thing. When you allow those deep feelings to flow without holding on or pushing them away, you send a clear message. You're saying, "This is where I am, and I'm being real about it." That kind of honesty creates a connection. It clears the confusion. You stop hiding your true self and instead, you show it. This openness lets the universe respond with clarity. Joy, grief, anger, they're all instructions when you experience them mindfully, rather than just acting on impulse. Your emotions don't block what you want. Instead, they shine a light on where things aren't aligned. If you're feeling scarcity, it doesn't mean you're failing. It just means your body is relaying a story you still hold on to. When you listen to that story, you can update your understanding. Feelings carry their messages, and then they can move on. The system picks up these new signals and starts reflecting them. The holdup isn't in what you want. It's in the emotions you haven't processed yet that are still taking up space. Every feeling you fully embrace becomes part of your creative journey. Your emotional state isn't just something to handle, it's something you use to program your life. And the more fluent you are in that emotional language, the quicker and clearer the response will be. It's not about controlling your feelings, it's about having clarity with them. It's about experiencing without getting overwhelmed, expressing without falling apart, and observing without judgment. You become the driver of your inner world, and you stop fearing your emotions because now you understand their role. They are the code. When you treat emotions as such, you change your reality, not by pushing aside what's real, but by fully accepting it. The universe is tuned into your energy, not just your intentions, and emotion is energy at its most raw. Let it flow, let it speak, let it inform, and watch how quickly things shift. It's not about pretending how you feel. It's about genuinely allowing yourself to feel deeply and consciously choosing what to share next. Before you say anything or take action, even before your thoughts become words, your body has already communicated. Your posture isn't neutral. It's a form of communication. It shows the universe who you believe you are, what you're open to, and how you expect life to treat you. The way you sit, stand, walk, and breathe isn't just physical. It's an energetic statement. The system is always listening and responding to our declarations, shaping our reality as a result. Many people think posture is just about how you align your body, but it's really about your energy alignment first. When you hold yourself with tension or a sense of collapse, it doesn't just notice your physical form, it picks up a signal. That signal might scream, "I'm ready for disappointment," or "I don't want to be noticed," or even, "I don't feel safe to grow." The field, in its perfect harmony, reflects that message back to you. This creates your experience. The energy you bring into a room impacts it deeply. Your posture, subtle yet consistent, is part of that message. You don't need to feel completely sure of yourself to walk with presence. You don't have to have all the answers to stand tall with clarity. What matters is understanding that your body is constantly sending out signals. Are you pulling back or stepping forward? Are you closing off or opening up? These questions aren't just about appearance. They guide how the world interacts with you. Posture acts as a doorway. When you intentionally shift it, you change your energy. You connect with a version of yourself that doesn't seek permission anymore. You start to embody the energy of your desired outcome even before it arrives. The field doesn't respond to timing, it responds to your energy. You don't simply manifest what you want, you manifest what your body believes to be true. Your posture becomes the evidence. This isn't about pretense, puffing up, or forceful confidence. It's about relaxing into the reality that you no longer need to shield yourself from life. It's about standing as someone who expects to be met and supported without needing to prove anything and instead having everything to gain. That kind of energy speaks louder than any spoken affirmation because the system trusts how you embody yourself over mere intention. When you enter a space aware of your posture, you declare your state of being. Changing how you carry yourself isn't about fixing something. It's about transmitting who you are now. You're showing the mirror, "This is me now." And as always, the mirror reflects that back. You don't have to shout your transformation. You can walk it, breathe it, and let your calm, consistent posture do the rest. Sometimes the strongest message comes not from words, but from how you stand. The universe is always listening. Every move you make sends a signal, not just to those around you, but to everything, an energy field that turns your feelings into reality. Movement isn't just about physical action. It's a kind of language. How you walk, how you reach out, how you lean in or pull away. All of these are meaningful actions. They carry your intentions, memories, emotions, and beliefs. They communicate before your mind even has a chance to catch up. When you hesitate, the world picks up on your uncertainty. But when you move with confidence, it recognizes your command. When you act like you belong, as if support is guaranteed, you create an energy that aligns perfectly with your expectations. You're not just moving through empty space, you're in a vibrant field that responds to everything you project. Most people overlook movement this way. They focus on their mindset, on their words, on affirmations. Yet their bodies often tell a different story. They claim they're ready but flinch when opportunity comes knocking. They say they're confident, but their steps are hesitant. They think they're aligned, but their body language reveals tension. The field picks up on how you move, not just what you say. It mirrors who you truly are, not just your declarations. You've likely felt this shift yourself. Some days you carry yourself differently simply because something inside you has clicked. You've embraced your worth, your clarity, and suddenly your body moves as if the world recognizes that change. That version of you isn't just putting on a show, it's transmitting genuine energy, and the people around you feel it. Reality shifts in response, turning movement into a powerful message, and that message is received loud and clear. You don't need choreography or an elaborate plan. Just be aware. Today, pay attention to how you move. Notice the tone, the speed, the reach. Are you pulling life toward you or keeping it at a distance? Are you showing openness or signaling retreat? These movements aren't just reflexes, they're instructions. They teach the universe how to treat you. Reclaiming your movements means reclaiming your message. Dance freely without overthinking and let your energy flow. Imagine walking with purpose, like your path is laid out before you. You're expressing yourself, not just with words, but through your hands, your eyes, and your very presence. It's not about showing off, it's about being in sync with yourself. Movement becomes a form of prayer, a command, a reflection of your inner frequency. You don't need to move flawlessly, you just need to move with authenticity. When you do, the world begins to shift around you, responding to what your mind can't always put into words. Your body speaks the truth, and movement doesn't lie. As you step forward with clarity, reality starts to align with you, bit by bit, gesture by gesture, until your life starts to reflect not just dreams, but the truth you're living. Remember, your heart isn't just an organ pumping blood. It's your strongest transmitter, sending signals far beyond your skin. It acts like a wireless router, radiating a frequency that tells the universe what you're aligned with and what you're ready to embrace. Your heart doesn't engage in logic or analyze outcomes. It simply sends out raw, unfiltered truth. And the world? It's always listening, responding precisely to that tone. While your mind may be busy crafting stories and plans, the heart quietly emits a signal that's impossible to fake. You can say all the right things, affirm your dreams, and create vision boards. But if your heart is closed or filled with fear, that's what the universe picks up on, not your words, not your strategies. This is why some moments feel incredibly magnetic. When your heart is truly open, you don't have to persuade the universe. You become a living command, not through force, but because your signal is pure and unblemished. The field senses you, not your thoughts, but the real you, beneath all the noise. And when that signal is clear, everything speeds up. People react differently, and things fall into place effortlessly, echoing back to you. Your heart is your truest instrument. You can't overpower it with willpower or intellect. If it's sending out signals of hurt or mistrust, those feelings will come back around. But when your heart opens up, when your heartbeat syncs with your breath, your presence, and your awareness, everything comes together. You stop sending mixed signals and start sharing a clear, consistent truth. This truth changes your life. You don't have to force your heart to open. You just need to stop closing it off. Don't pull back when you feel vulnerable. Don't shy away when joy comes knocking. Stop viewing love as a risk and see it for what it truly is, a connection. Your heart isn't just experiencing life, it's shaping it. Each little opening makes your reality clearer, not because the world outside has changed, but because you've adjusted your signal. Your heart isn't weak or soft like you might think. It's actually your strongest link to the bigger picture. When you choose to live from your heart regularly, you discover that reality doesn't respond to tactics, it responds to your essence. The heart is your connection point, enhancing your frequency and reflecting back exactly what you're willing to embrace, free from fear. Open it up, and the world hears you loud and clear. Your body isn't guessing, it's reacting. Every thought, feeling, and energy state you hold sends a message back to you. That message affects your body chemically. It's not just stress when you feel overwhelmed, it's cortisol flooding your system. It's not just inspiration, it's dopamine pulsing through you. Anxiety, calm, empowerment. Your body transforms those feelings into chemical signals that shape your thoughts, actions, and what you draw into your life. Many think emotions live in the mind, apart from their bodies, but your body is always tuned in and communicates through hormones. When you dwell on worry, your system activates, preparing for danger. Muscles tighten, breath gets shallow, focus narrows, and the environment reflects this tension, not because there's something wrong with you, but because you've aligned with survival instincts. Conversely, when you tap into trust, even for a moment, your body notices. Oxytocin flows, your heart rate steadies, your vision widens, and your body signals, "I'm safe." The world around you faithfully mirrors that message. This is more than just spiritual talk, it's a reality check. It's biology mixed with energy and chemistry, shaped by frequency. This happens all the time, whether you notice it or not. The trick isn't to hide away those hormonal reactions or feel bad about them. Instead, it's about understanding them. Your internal chemistry gives you feedback on how you're really feeling. If you feel stuck, heavy, or reactive, take a moment to reflect on the chemicals your body's been cycling through. Not to blame yourself, but to gain clarity. Once you spot that loop, you can break it, and when you break it, you send new signals to your body. New patterns emerge, and new outcomes follow. You don't have to force anything, just create space for fresh signals to come in. Sometimes it starts with your breath, or just being still. Other times, it's as simple as choosing a thought that feels a bit better. That tiny shift can change your biology, and as your biology shifts, so does your signal. And your signal? It absolutely changes what comes next. Remember, your body isn't against you, it's communicating. It's saying, this is the message you're sending out, and it's also saying you can change it. When your chemistry aligns with your intentions, and your hormones match your chosen frequency, manifestation becomes real instead of just an idea. You start to feel different, act different, and become the kind of environment your desires want to connect with. You're not separate from your surroundings. Your body is part of the broadcast. Every hormone, loop, and response is like a line of code. When you write from a place of peace, clarity, and trust, the system listens. It responds instantly, and reality adjusts to match. Healing isn't just about feeling better. It's about rewriting the internal script that tells you who you are, what you deserve, and how life reacts to you. Those pains, fears, and cycles that keep looping, they're not flaws. They're just old code from times when you didn't have better tools to choose something else. Healing starts when you stop managing symptoms and begin to edit the story. Your subconscious holds more than just memories. It holds your identity. Every belief you carry comes from experiences. Maybe someone taught you that love must be earned. Maybe a moment of abandonment set a rule your nervous system still follows. Or perhaps success started feeling unsafe. These moments can define how you move forward. When you stop making choices and start playing out old patterns, you draw in the same people, hit the same barriers, and feel the same emotions. It's not that life is unfair, it's just that your internal script keeps running. To change what you see in life, you need to change the script you're living by. That script is hidden in your beliefs, your inner dialogue, and how your body reacts to new happiness. Many think healing means adding more knowledge, more tools, more techniques. But real healing often starts with taking things away. What belief are you still holding on to that doesn't fit? What version of yourself are you stuck acting out just to get by? When you begin to rewrite that inner script, you break the cycle. You'll still feel those old triggers, but now you respond with calm instead of fear. You recognize the old thoughts, but you don't become them. You let go of the old lines, and suddenly, the universe begins to reflect this new, subtle yet powerful change. The characters shift, the story evolves. You're not playing the same old part anymore. You're creating a brand new role. That's why healing can feel strange. It's not just about finding comfort, it's about releasing what's familiar. Your body might resist. Your mind might question, as it's been conditioned to trust the old narrative. But you don't have to force it. You can update your inner code steadily. You speak new truths. You emit new energy. You practice being the real you until the old lies start to fade away. When that happens, things shift. Not just within you, but around you. You meet people who mirror this new story. You find ease where there used to be struggle. You no longer need to guard yourself against a reality that's outdated because the signals you send are based on a different narrative now. The change doesn't require more time. It needs alignment. Healing is about creating that alignment from the inside out. You aren't broken, you're programmed, and now you're rewriting that programming line by line, choice by choice. One day, you'll look around and see that your reflection has changed, not because you've escaped your past, but because you've reshaped your future from the inside out. There's a deeper memory that doesn't lie in your brain or your body or your subconscious. It exists outside of time, in a space that carries the impressions of every experience you've had. Every feeling and intention you've ever had is part of the Akashic Cache, a sort of energy archive. This archive doesn't just keep track of what you've done, it shows who you've become. It's not merely a history lesson, it's a guide to the energy you're sending out right now. Every moment, consciously or not, you're transmitting that energy. The patterns in your life, the people you attract, the lessons that come back to you, these aren't random. They're echoes from your cache. Just like a computer uses stored data to predict what'll happen next, your vibrational history shapes your experience. You're not being punished by your past, you're simply reflecting the frequency of your present. But the cool part is, this memory bank isn't set in stone, it's flexible. Each time you change how you think, fully feel something, or let go of an outdated belief, you're rewriting that history. You're not wiping the slate clean. You're enhancing how it shapes you. When that change happens regularly, the algorithm shifts, and your present energy takes priority over your past. That's why some experiences can feel strangely familiar, even if they're new. It's like walking into a room and feeling at home before you say a word. And sometimes, issues seem bigger than this lifetime. The Akashic Cache isn't limited by your personal timeline. It captures energy across different identities and lifetimes. As you become more aware, you gain access, not to the stories, but to the emotional traces they left behind. You don't have to remember everything to change your energy. Just notice the emotional patterns still hanging around, like fear of loss, fear of judgment, fear of betrayal. These aren't random, they're leftover patterns waiting to be resolved. Your current life is the ideal setting to rewrite them, not through logic, but through energy. When you face your fears with new reactions, when you act from a place of alignment instead of just reacting, you update the whole system. You aren't defined by what's happened in the past. What matters is what you choose to carry forward. That influence fades as soon as you change your frequency, and that change happens in every decision you make, in the energy you embody, and in the reality you choose to live in. You don't have to run from your history. Instead, you can rewrite it with your present. The Akashic Cache isn't your boundary, it's your gateway. Every time you connect more deeply with your true self, not the version others expect, a new chapter opens up. The way you see things shifts, memories refresh, and so do you. You're not just following your own path, you're moving through a world full of shared beliefs and expectations, kind of like background noise that everyone seems to accept. These shared ideas are strong because they're echoed by millions, generation after generation. They create the frameworks that shape cultures and what most people think of as reality. But here's the key. This system is waiting for you to realize that these shared beliefs aren't set in stone. They influence you, but don't control you. Your personal power can break through when you're aware enough to tap into it. Too many people live as if collective beliefs are absolute. They buy into ideas like success takes forever, money is hard to come by, and healing is a long road only a few get to travel. These aren't facts, they're just old scripts, so repeated they feel true, yet remain invisible. And because so many people buy into these ideas, they resonate loudly in society. But the minute just one person starts to shift away from that story, everything changes. The system reacts to the loudest signals, not the most popular ones. You've felt this yourself, right? The moment you stopped believing you weren't ready, or when you moved ahead without needing permission, you started to envision something that others couldn't see, and suddenly, that vision began to materialize. That wasn't just rebellion, that was claiming your power. You weren't battling against the collective, you were leading the energy. Acting from your own insights doesn't mean confronting anyone, it means finding harmony within yourself. It's when you choose to trust your ideas over the noise around you. When you quit questioning if your dreams are practical and start asking if they ring true for you. The rules aren't bound to majority opinions. They respond to genuine energy. The strongest, most authentic signal triumphs. That's how changes in perspective happen. One individual rewrites their inner script, and the world reflects that back. They become a living example that different paths exist, creating a ripple effect in the collective mindset. Others can feel this shift. It's like a quiet invitation where reality bends not because everyone agreed, but because someone took the leap to assert their own voice. You don't have to convince anyone. To get the world to align with your vibe, you just have to hold on to it long enough for the world to take notice. That's how influence works in the quantum realm. It's not about numbers, it's all about clarity. The clearer your message, the stronger your impact. Even if no one else gets it yet, you aren't tied down by what everyone else thinks, unless you choose to be. You can opt out anytime, no permission needed. You can start living under a different belief, move to a different rhythm, embrace a different truth. And when you do, the universe pays attention. The quantum field isn't ruled by majority opinion, it's shaped by individual conviction. Your strong belief doesn't just push back against the crowd, it transforms it bit by bit, till what was once accepted fades away and your new reality kicks in. You don't just carry your genes or family name, you also inherit the world's beliefs upon your arrival. Right from the start, you enter a space filled with agreements about what's possible, what's likely, what's safe, and what's out of reach. These beliefs aren't usually taught. They seep in through language, repetition, culture, and subtle emotional cues. The longer you reside in them without questioning, the more they feel like reality. But they're not reality. They're rules made by people, notions held in minds that dictate what people think they can achieve. Collective beliefs act like ceilings, not because they're true, but because so many people back them up. If enough folks believe something is impossible, that belief creates a frequency. This frequency embeds itself in our schools, entertainment, and conversations. It becomes so normal that anyone who challenges it is often viewed as unrealistic, reckless, or naive. Yet here's the truth. Collective change has always followed individual breakthroughs. Change doesn't spring from the masses. It arises from those who refuse to accept the limits others have embraced. Just look at history. Every innovation, every transformation happened because someone didn't fall for the commonly held beliefs. They remembered that just because a consensus exists doesn't mean it's fact. What's usual isn't always right. Just because most haven't seen something doesn't mean it's impossible. It just means it hasn't been realized yet. The field is limitless. It doesn't track what's likely. It reacts to what you send out. So if the collective is, when we focus on limitations, scarcity, and struggle, those become our main beliefs. But if just one person sends out a different message, the whole environment starts to pay attention. It doesn't matter how many are stuck on the old story. What matters is how clear that new message is. The system operates on vibrations, not numbers, and clarity always beats out loudness. Many folks live trapped in a bubble built from shared beliefs. They don't think twice about why money seems to take forever to earn, or why love has to be tough, or why healing should be a slow process. They just accept these inherited limitations as if they're universal truths. However, when you refuse to accept those beliefs, you start to loosen their hold on you. You realize that what you believed was impossible was just unlikely within a story that never belonged to you. You don't need to change everyone else. You just have to stop drawing your truth from that group. The more you connect with what feels authentic to you, even if it goes against the crowd, the more you'll see shifts in your surroundings. Others will notice it too because belief is contagious. One person aligned with their truth can transform reality more than millions just reiterating what they've been told. You're not here to follow a script, you're here to create a new one. As soon as you stop seeking permission, possibilities expand back into their limitless nature. You've been taught that reality is a shared experience, defined by strict limits and rules. What you weren't told is that most of what we view as reality is just a collective agreement that's been repeated so often it feels like truth. This is the illusion of consensus reality. It isn't the real deal. It's merely a reflection of what most people accept. The more you unknowingly go along with it, the more it shapes your life without your say-so. Consensus reality is the average of human belief. It's the programming that insists life is tough, time is linear, you must earn your worth, and only a select few can have extraordinary lives. These aren't facts, they're just frequencies. Because they've been echoed for generations, they create a heavy vibration, making you question anything that doesn't fit. The myth isn't that this reality exists. The myth is that it's the only reality. You're not confined to what most people agree on. You don't need everyone to agree to make things happen. What you really need is clarity. When your message is strong and you truly believe in something bigger, you start to see things shift around you. It's not about fitting in with everyone else. It's about living in a way that feels authentic to you. That's why those who dare to be different can sometimes feel alone. They've stepped away from what everyone else is doing, and it can be confusing at first. But soon enough, new reflections start to appear, and a life that matches your beliefs begins to come together. Not because the world has changed, but because you've stopped waiting for permission to think your own way. Consensus reality is powerful, but not because it's necessarily true. It gets stronger every time you tone down your dreams so others can digest them, or when you doubt yourself because others can't see your vision. Each time you do that, you feed the very narrative that holds you back. But once you stop handing over your power to that group mindset, your reality starts to break free. You don't need everyone's approval to live at a higher frequency. What matters is your consistency in sending out your own signal. Reality isn't set in stone. It's like a filter. You're not seeing the world as it truly is. You're seeing it through the lens of what has been agreed upon. And guess what? You can choose to opt out, not by fighting against the consensus, but by rising above it. You can dance to your own rhythm, live from your own knowing, and hold your own standards. You're not here to blend into a shared illusion. You're here to create something that's clearer, purer, and more in tune with who you really are. The myth of consensus fades away the moment you stop repeating it. In that quiet space, a new frequency can arise, one that doesn't need to be popular to have power. This new vibration reshapes the world not through votes, but through your own coherence. And it all starts with you. Every thought you have, every feeling you express, and every word you choose sends a signal into an infinite field. This isn't just an idea, it's the mechanics of existence. The cloud isn't about computers, it's about energy, the quantum field that remembers and responds to every frequency you send out. It tracks your declarations, doubts, and desires, reflecting them back as the people, moments, and experiences that shape your life. You're not living in isolation, you're part of a vast ecosystem. Every moment, the energy around you is picking up your vibe and shaping outcomes based on that signal. When you think something, it gets noted. When you feel something strongly, it's noted even more. Keep that energy steady, and it builds a sort of cloud around you. This cloud doesn't judge, it simply reflects what you send out. There's no punishment or reward, it just responds to your energy's direction. That's why things feel like they come full circle, why your thoughts turn into conversations, and why your feelings show up in what others say. Synchronicity isn't weird, it's just how things work. Nothing you send out just vanishes. It waits, figures things out, and gets organized behind the scenes. If there's a delay, it's not because things are slow. It's that the system is waiting for your signal to become stable. The cloud tunes in for consistency, not desperation. Coherence, not volume. Many people don't realize they're always transmitting. They think they're only manifesting when they visualize or set intentions. But the truth is, The field is listening all the time. It hears you when you complain and when you celebrate. When you say, "I never catch a break," or "I always find a way," that's taken like code. And the response is more of what matches that vibe. The cloud doesn't speak English or any language. It communicates through frequency, rhythm, and resonance. If you're filled with noise, conflict, or confusion, the cloud gets mixed signals and returns mixed results. But when you find alignment, when your feelings, words, and expectations match, the signal becomes sharper. The cloud reacts, life gets clearer, and things start moving faster. The system has what it needs to create your next chapter. You're not here just shouting into the void, hoping someone hears you. You're here to remember that something always does hear you. As soon as you take charge of what you're putting out there, your thoughts, your tone, your truth, the system starts to recalibrate. You're not creating from nothing. You're activating what's already been stored. The cloud is paying attention, and what you keep sending out is what you'll keep getting back. Your frequency is the key, your belief is the username, and your embodiment is the program. The system doesn't care if you're doing it on purpose, it just wants consistency. Once you align and your messages are clear and confident, the cloud is ready to respond. It acts swiftly and accurately, without a hitch. You aren't stuck in a random world, you're in a structured one. Reality isn't just a mess, it has a foundation. Underneath all the ups and downs, emotions, and situations, there's a clear order. This order isn't harsh or unforgiving. It's beautiful, smart, and exact. It's the base of all creation. This is universal law, the sacred blueprint that connects everything. It's not just a metaphor, it's practical. It's the behind-the-scenes system of every experience you've ever had. Universal law isn't like a belief. It's something you engage with, often without even realizing it. Just like gravity doesn't care if you get it, the laws of resonance, reflection, and rhythm don't wait for your approval. They simply work, harmonizing with your signal, not your wishes or dreams, but your true essence. When you emit a frequency, you send a command through this code base. That command is interpreted based on the laws of this reality, laws like cause and effect, polarity, vibration, and correspondence. These laws don't react to your fleeting thoughts. They respond to who you really are. You aren't negotiating with the universe, you're programming it, and the signal you send has to align with the laws that shape its response. This is why everything clicks when you're in alignment, why you find flow when you stop forcing things, and why resistance fades when you let go. The laws aren't swayed by pressure, they respond to clarity. The cleaner your signal, the quicker the results. The more coherent your field, the clearer the reflection. It's not about trying harder, it's about gaining clarity within a system that's much older than your individual story. You're not above this code, and you're not below it. You're right in the midst of it. You are part of it. When you align with universal law, you ease up on bending reality to fit your desires. Instead, you allow it to unfold what's already meant for you, if you know how to tune in. That's not weakness, it's mastery. You move from reacting to calibrating, from chasing to commanding. The sacred code base doesn't play favorites. It's not emotional or moral, it's mathematical. It amplifies what's already there, reflects what's consistent, and delivers not what you plead for, but what you project. Everything becomes clearer when you realize this. Life isn't a test anymore, it's a reflection. The universe isn't far away, it's responsive. Creation isn't some big mystery, it's a beautifully structured process. The laws are always active, and you're not just waiting for alignment. Alignment is eagerly waiting for you. Once you align your inner world with the game's rules, reality starts to flow with you. It doesn't need convincing, it needs harmony. Universal law is just the way truth shapes into form, always, perfectly, every time. You aren't merely existing in this system, you're always interacting with it. Your consciousness isn't a passive observer waiting for something external to spark it. No, it's an active connection, a direct gateway to the universe. Think of your consciousness as an API, an energetic programming interface. Through it, you send commands and reality shifts. Your thoughts, feelings, and identity aren't just internal. They're powerful inputs that get transformed into structures and experiences in real time. Just like in technology, where an API allows different systems to exchange info and responses, your consciousness does the same. It links you to a greater intelligence that doesn't rely on words or rituals, just frequency. When you're clear inside and your desires are aligned, your API is open. The signal goes out and the system gets it, making the response inevitable. You're not just waiting for life to unfold, you're actively coding it through your consciousness every moment. Many people don't realize this. They think they're simply reacting to life, but every reaction is also an instruction. If you feel fear and shy away, you're telling the system, not yet. When you sense possibility and step forward with faith, you're saying, I'm ready. Your interface isn't judged, it's mirrored. Each time you make an internal shift, the world around you adjusts, right away, not later. You felt this before. The moment you moved from scarcity to trust, the phone rang, an opportunity appeared, a block eased. The code you were running changed, and the system responded, not because you pleaded, but because you transmitted your desire. That's how the consciousness API works. It's not about forcing control, it's about accessing connection. You don't need to figure out how the system will react. What matters is knowing clearly what you want it to reflect back. If your thoughts, energy, and identity are all mixed up, it confuses the system. The request gets lost. But when everything aligns, when your vibe is clear, the field gets your message loud and clear. Then, manifestation is just your intentions catching up with reality. It's not about being perfect, it's about being precise. You don't have to get it all right. Just remember, you're always connected. The system doesn't need you to shout. It needs a clear signal. As your mind gets clearer, your access improves. You begin to realize that the outside world is just a slow reflection of what you've already worked through inside. You're not separate from the code. You're the one writing it. Your consciousness is the channel, always live, always open. You're shaping the reality that meets you, step by step, moment by moment, signal by signal. You weren't meant to do this alone. Not because you can't, but because you're linked to something much smarter and more responsive than your everyday mind. This system is the infinite field, a living intelligence that surrounds you and flows through everything. It doesn't need convincing or pushing, it just needs engagement. When you stop trying to handle everything on your own and start partnering with the field, things begin to shift. Not slower, but faster. Not harder, but smoother. You've been taught to push and plan every step, but the field is already mapped out. It holds every version of your life, every possible outcome, every hidden chance. Your job isn't to control, it's to communicate with it. Sync up and move in harmony with what the field knows about who you are and where you're headed. The field isn't separate from you, it responds to you. Treat it like a partner, not a machine, and it will start working with you. Collaboration means trust. It's about stepping back from micromanaging every detail and being open to guidance you might not yet fully understand. Logic isn't the only language the universe speaks. Sometimes the field communicates in ways you can't explain. Sometimes timing comes in the form of symbols or a quiet whisper you might almost overlook. When you're working together, these signs aren't weird. They're just part of how things operate. Once you stop needing everything to be perfectly clear before you act on them, you start to notice the signals. You're not meant to figure it all out on your own. You're meant to listen, adjust, and move with the energy around you. That means you ask a question and then pay attention to how the answer shows up. Don't force it, just accept it. You set your goals and stay open to being led down paths that weren't visible until you said yes. The universe knows the shortcuts. It understands your destination, often even before you do, and it's always ready to support you. But this support is quiet. It demands your attention to recognize it. As you stop doubting those inner nudges and treat them as important, acting on your instincts even when you can't see the proof, that's when things begin to pick up speed. The universe responds not to your struggle, but to your openness. When you create room for it, things start to flow. Remember, you're not here to control everything. You're here to play your part and trust the universe to manage the rest. When you meet it halfway with clarity, openness, and alignment, life transforms from a struggle into a dance. One step from you, one step from the infinite, always listening, always responding, always ready to move with you. Not everything you face in life is just random. Some things were decided long before you got here. These are your soul contracts, agreements made not by your conscious thoughts, but by your deeper self. They're not punishments or traps. They're anchors in your timeline designed to help you awaken, remember, and align with your true self. These contracts are woven into your life and often show up as challenges or intense attractions. While they're not always easy, they are intentional. You don't just randomly meet certain people, you feel a connection before you even know them. It's a recognition that doesn't make sense. Something deep within pulls you toward them. These contracts might not all be about love or joy. Some come to bring up old pain, while others reveal the beliefs you've outgrown. Some exist simply to trigger growth. These challenges, they push you toward the version of yourself you've been running from. They aren't here to make things easy. They're meant to make your growth unmistakable. A lot of people fight against these challenges because they don't see them as sacred. They see the heartache and struggle and think it's unfair. But here's the thing. These challenges aren't written in comfort. They're coded to spark the exact emotional shift you need to change who you are, reignite your strength, and realign your energy. When you stop wondering why it happened and start asking what it's revealing, that's when the healing begins. Some challenges are quick, a word, a look, a moment that changes everything. Others last a lifetime, karmic ties and patterns that need breaking so something new can emerge. The length of the challenge doesn't matter. What matters is the impact. The universe remembers what was agreed upon, even when you forget, resist, or drift off into the old stories. That challenge waits for you. It vibrates through your meetings, memories, and dreams. You can't cancel a soul contract by running away. You complete it by being aware. You acknowledge the pain, learn from it, and embrace the change. That's how you break the cycle. It's not about cutting ties, it's about uncovering the truth. Once you embody that truth, the challenge fades away. You're not a victim, you're a part of a bigger design. Some of the hurtful things, they weren't meant to stick around, they were meant to wake you up. When you recognize that, when you stop blaming others and start seeing the lessons, you become someone who fulfills that agreement with ease instead of fighting it. These challenges don't cage you, they free you by showing you who you're not, so you can finally remember who you are. And once that remembering happens, everything shifts. The challenge isn't needed anymore. The message has landed, and your soul is acknowledged. Some patterns don't shatter with hard work or routine. They don't act like habits. They're deeper agreements, often made unconsciously with life itself. Agreements you didn't sign with a pen, but with your energy. Agreements like, I'll play small if it keeps me safe, or I'll give up my truth for acceptance, or I'll keep struggling because being at ease feels too scary. These are the foundational rules within you. These beliefs are so ingrained that they actually shape how the algorithm picks up your vibe. Until you break them, they keep sending out the same reality, no matter how hard you try to change things on the surface. You might not even remember when you formed them, but they operate like code. They originated from feelings of pain, fear, or helplessness. Those moments when you, whether you realized it or not, decided that freedom felt too risky, visibility came with dangers, love meant heartbreak, and growth led to exposure. So in that moment, you opted for a quieter life, a safer identity, a smaller signal, not out of weakness, but as a way to protect yourself in the only way you knew how. The field acknowledges these decisions, not because they're true, but because they're consistent. If you're sending out a message like, I'm not meant for more, the algorithm simply reflects that. It doesn't question whether it's good for you. It looks for alignment between what you signal and what you experience. If your signal says limit, the reality mirrors that without a second thought. To change this, you don't need to fight against it. You need to name it, to say it out loud so it stops operating quietly in the background. The moment you make the invisible visible, the grip loosens. The real power wasn't in the agreement itself, but in your unspoken agreement with it. Once you withdraw that consent, the code starts to unravel. But this shift isn't just a mental process. It's something you feel in your body. You don't just say, I'm done. You start to move differently, make different choices, and breathe as if you're free from the old patterns. Breaking the agreement means replacing it with something that really resonates with you and feels true. You install new beliefs, like I can be powerful and safe, I can be seen and loved, or I can grow without losing myself. These new beliefs don't just change how you think, they alter your frequency, and the field shifts in response, not because you persuaded it, but because you've transformed into someone new. You no longer believe that safety and suffering go hand in hand or that shrinking equals survival. You've updated your system from within. The algorithm doesn't care how long the old beliefs have been there. It only pays attention to the signal you're broadcasting now. When you stop reinforcing that old agreement and hold on to this new energy long enough, the system refreshes. The loop breaks, limits dissolve, and reflections shift, not because your life got easier, but because you became someone new. You finally let go of that old belief that it has to be tough. Dreams aren't just random tales your mind spins while you snooze. They're more than that. They are meaningful and functional. When you dream, you're not running away from reality. You're reshaping it. Your dreams help your mind sort through everything, putting away what you don't need, bringing forward what's unresolved, and testing out new possibilities for your future. This all happens in a space where there's little resistance, and logic can't get in the way. Every night, you dive into a world with different rules. Your ego takes a back seat, and suddenly, the barriers you cling to during the day fade away. Identities shift, time bends, emotions become stronger, and in this relaxed state, your consciousness starts to organize everything you've picked up. Not just memories, but beliefs, thought patterns, and emotional reactions. Dreams refine your inner code. They update how you'll approach life when you wake up. You know that feeling when a dream sticks with you, even if it seems nonsensical? That's not just symbolism, it's integration. It's your subconscious speaking up when the analytical mind is off duty. What you push away while awake makes its way back to you through dreams, not to punish you, but to help you process what you've been avoiding. Dreams don't create the fear, they reveal the issues that need addressing. But dreams are not just mirrors, they hold potential too. Often the future versions of yourself emerge first in your dream space. You can tap into their confidence, their freedom, and briefly live in their reality. That's not make-believe, it's alignment. It's a sneak peek at who you can become, like a practice run before you fully step into that life. When you hold on to those feelings after waking up, they begin to manifest in your real life. It's not that the dream caused it, it showed you the way. Dreams don't stick to your timetable, they run on your emotional vibes. If you keep dreaming about something, it means there's still work to do on that issue. If you dream about growing, it means you're expanding. If you dream about falling, it might be time to let go of old control issues. Every dream is a download. Some messages are subtle, others are loud, but all of them come with instructions. You don't need to analyze every little detail. Just listen and feel. To truly grasp what a dream leaves behind, ask yourself not just what you saw, but how you felt. That feeling is the energy being set in motion while you sleep. When you wake up, you're a little different, slightly upgraded, slightly clearer. The system is always refining itself. Your dreams are like a sacred language, turning the unconscious into reality and shaping the next version of your mind. This transformation happens not through thought, but through energy, not through effort, but through night. You don't need to know how it works. All you need to do is acknowledge that it does. Every time you close your eyes, you're not merely daydreaming. When you visualize, you're feeding data into the system. Lucid visioning isn't just fantasizing, it's an active connection. You're sending clear emotional and visual signals to create your new life. The mind doesn't tell apart what you vividly imagine from what you physically experience, and neither does the universe. When you envision with feeling and clarity, you're not hoping for change, you're directing it. A common mistake most people make is thinking that creating a vision is about crafting a fantasy. But the universe doesn't reply to fantasies. It responds to signals, and signals stem from clarity. The more deeply you see the version of yourself living in your desired reality, their posture, tone, and rhythm, the more accurate the reflection becomes. Lucid visioning is about holding the image in your mind as if it's real, not in the future, but right now. It's not about controlling what happens. It's about transforming into the person who knows the outcome is certain. That person doesn't wait or hope. they embody their reality. Even accessing that state for a few moments leaves a new imprint in the universe, sending fresh instructions and a new frequency for reflection. Your imagination is powerful. It's not something to overlook. It's a tool for tapping into alternate timelines and bringing their knowledge into your present. When used effectively, it becomes a transmission. You see it, feel it, and hold it, and the system starts to shift. The universe doesn't wonder if it's possible. It checks if you can maintain the signal. Lucid visioning isn't a wish, it's a bold declaration in image form. You might not even realize it, but the way you expect problems to show up and then actually feel them is all part of the same cycle. It's like rehearsing for disappointment, and somehow you always end up finding it. That's a kind of visioning, just in reverse. Every time you think about what you don't want, you're feeding the system with that same energy. It's not biased, it just reflects what you keep repeating. But when you turn that around, when you start to focus on joy, ease, success, and love, everything shifts. The power is not just in what you see, it's in the feelings behind it. When you embrace who you want to be as if it's already true, you dive even deeper into that possibility. You stop just watching your life and start living it. That change, it's everything. The universe reads your energy as a green light. It starts to reorganize everything around you. Lucid visioning? It's real, not some fantasy. It's about giving new instructions to the reality you live in. Each time you do this, with awareness, with precision, with belief, you're reshaping the future. Not by forcing it, but by choosing it. You're not waiting, you're seeing it so clearly that it has to show up. Imagine this, you're not on a single path. You're moving through a matrix filled with infinite possibilities, each one a different version of reality shaped by your current vibe. Every choice, every belief, every feeling positions you on a specific branch. These aren't just ideas, they're real options happening all around you, each with its own environment and version of you. You're already in this timeline matrix. Your consciousness is like a cursor, picking which reality to step into. Most people think the future is like a straight road, fixed and already built. But in the matrix, time doesn't just move forward, it responds and reorganizes. Every time you change your state, a new timeline lights up, not because you forced anything, but because you aligned with it. The system doesn't hand out results based on what you want. It responds to your alignment with a specific possibility that's already there. Your job isn't to create it, it's to tune into it. This is why changes can happen so fast. Someone can go from feeling invisible to being magnetic, from stuck to moving forward, from lost to clear. They didn't slowly climb some ladder, they jumped timelines. Not by accident, but by resonance. You align with your current reality and start becoming the version of yourself that belongs to a higher timeline. This shift in your identity alters the flow, and the system reacts to it. Moving through life isn't about effort, it's about energy. Your emotions are your gateway. Your beliefs act like a filter, and your choices trigger changes. When you operate from a new level of trust, a deeper understanding, or a new standard, the system recalibrates. It doesn't wait for you. It responds to clarity. The system is always tuned in. It keeps track of where your awareness is focused. If you keep looking back at the past, it will guide you toward timelines that mirror that history. If you keep replaying failure, it will bring you futures that resonate with defeat. But when you move into vision, into living fully in the now as the person you choose to be, you unlock timelines that were once out of reach. Each timeline feels different. Some are heavy and slow, while others are light and quick. You can tell which one you're on, not by what's happening around you, but by how it feels. Feelings are your indicators. The moment you stop vibing with your current path, you can shift instantly. Not by forcing it, but by making a different choice. The timeline matrix isn't about fate, it's about the choices you make. You aren't stuck in one version of life unless you think you are. Once you realize you're the one in control, not just along for the ride, the system reveals how responsive it really is. You are just one choice away from a whole new reality, and that cursor is already in your hands. We've been taught that memory is fixed, like files piled away in a cabinet. But memory isn't set in stone, it's fluid. Each time you recall something, you're not just pulling it up, you're rewriting it. Remembering brings those memories into the present, where your current self and feelings can change their nature. The past doesn't just linger quietly behind you. It adapts based on who you are right now. This isn't about denial or living in a fantasy. It's about understanding how your mind and the universe work together. Your subconscious doesn't tell the difference between what happened and what you keep reinforcing. If you keep telling the same painful story, filled with the same emotions, that memory grows stronger. Not because it's more true, but because you keep feeding it. When you bring fresh energy into a memory, it becomes the main script that shapes how you see things. But the opposite is true, too. When you look back at a memory with kindness and understanding, something shifts. You start to break down the old version molded by fear or shame. You don't erase what happened, you change its meaning. You transform who you were in that moment and rewrite the story you tell about yourself. This new version then becomes your anchor, the starting point for new paths. You've likely done this already, even if you didn't know it. A painful moment that once felt overwhelming begins to ease. You see it differently and recognize the strength or clarity it gave you. That change came not because the event changed, but because you changed. Your new outlook sent a fresh signal to that memory, and the system picked up on it. Memory's strength lies not in the event itself, but in the story that goes with it. Stories are like code. They guide the reality algorithm on who you are, what you expect, and the life you connect with. When you change the message of that memory, the world stops reflecting the hurt version of you and starts responding to the real you who has emerged. That's why healing brings speed. It's not that the past vanishes, it's that its grip loosens. The cycle ends, the triggers fade, and the same experiences don't keep coming up because you don't run that old script anymore. You don't need to change what happened, you just need to remember it differently, with intention, to free yourself, not to repeat it. Your memory isn't a prison, it's your programming, and programming can be changed. The universe isn't worried about what happened, it's interested in what you believe about it. Shift that belief and you don't just break free from the past, you unlock new possibilities that the old you couldn't reach. The memory updates, the reflection changes, and you start anew, this time with power. Every choice you make isn't just a decision, it's a directional signal that guides you to a specific reality. Parallel realities aren't far off or imaginary, they're happening right now, side by side like scripts running at the same time. Each script holds a different version of you and a different journey. Every moment, you're choosing a different story, whether you realize it or not. You're aligned with one of them, based on who you are, what you believe, and the choices you make. You're not stuck in one path unless you think you are. Most people lock themselves into the same version of reality day after day, not because it's the only option, but because it's the one they know best. They wake up with the same thoughts, feel the same feelings, and expect the same outcomes. That repetition shapes their identity, and that identity drives their alignment. The script loops because of the signal you're sending, not because the universe is restricted. But the moment you truly shift your inner state, everything starts to change. At first, it might not look different, but behind the scenes, things begin to shift. People treat you differently. New opportunities pop up that you didn't see before. Life's vibe starts to change, not because the outside world has changed, but because you've stepped into a different version of it. You're now on the branch where that new outcome exists. That's why, after a big inner change, things can feel surreal. Suddenly, you're having conversations that seem like echoes from a dream. What once felt impossible starts to feel normal. You didn't just pull something out of thin air. You aligned with a narrative where it was already happening. The possibilities are endless. Every version of your life is out there. You don't create it, you tune into it. Every time you make a choice based on your higher self instead of your past, a new path opens up. The system starts to deliver information that matches this new choice. This is how you make a quantum leap, not by forcing it, but by being precise. You collapse timelines by consistently choosing differently enough that your old script can no longer connect with you. You stop resonating with who you were, and the universe stops reflecting that version back to you. You don't need to figure out how it all works, you just need to know that it does. Every thought, every feeling, and every choice is a command. The universe doesn't ask, "Is this likely?" It asks, "Is this aligned?" When your energy aligns with a new story, the system responds immediately, not slowly. You're not just crafting one life, you're deciding from many. Each moment is a chance to switch it up. The key question isn't if there's another version of you out there. It's whether you're ready to step into that version and live in that reality. As soon as you do, everything shifts. You're suddenly in a completely different story. Your future self isn't just an idea. It's a real entity already sending out signals. There's a version of you right now that has the clarity, love, resources, or success you're after. And guess what? They're not separate from you. They're always within reach, always sending messages you can tap into. You don't need to create your future self. You align with them. Time isn't just a straight line. It's more like a field where all these moments coexist. Each version of you vibrates at its own frequency, and the key to accessing those versions depends on the energy you're holding at any given moment. You can't just think your way into your future self. You have to feel your way into their vibe. The clearer you tune in, the more insights and choices will flow to you, not from logic, but from resonance. Your future self has already figured out the problems you're currently stressing over. They've walked through the path you can't see yet. They aren't just a fantasy, they're a guide, showing you a reality that's already unfolding in a higher dimension. The more you embody their energy now, the quicker everything falls into place. You don't have to wait a decade to become them. You just need to act like the person they would be and make choices they would make, right now. Too many people chase their future as if it's far away, but what they really want is alignment. They think they need to feel confident before success arrives or trust the path before it feels safe. But your future self isn't waiting. They already understand. When you start to move, speak, and choose like them, you create a link in this reality for that energy to land. You don't have to be perfect, you just need to be consistent. Pause throughout your day and ask yourself, what would the version of me who already has it do now? That's not just daydreaming, that's tuning in. You're not pretending, you're diving deep. The more you live from that mindset, the more reality shifts, not because you forced it, but because you finally aligned with it. Your future self isn't just some end goal, they are an active part of your awareness. When you connect with that part of yourself, the one that's ready for more, everything shifts. Your fears don't dictate your choices anymore. You start making different decisions. Your habits change. Your emotions level up, and suddenly, life responds to this new version of you. You're never too far from the life you desire. It's just one small shift away from the you that's already living it. Tune in, pay attention, and take action. The more you operate from this future self, the quicker they become your reality. Not tomorrow, not someday, right now. The signal's been there all along, you just needed to step into it. Once you do, everything falls into place. Life doesn't always change slowly. Sometimes it shifts dramatically. One conversation, one decision, one moment of clarity can change your entire path. These are jump points, energetic crossroads where you align with a higher timeline. They're not forced, nor are they random. They show up when your inner state is in harmony with a reality you couldn't reach before. The jump doesn't happen because you've waited long enough. It happens because you finally match the energy of that desired reality. A jump point isn't a reward, it's a reflection. It's when your beliefs, emotions, and identity sync up with a more vibrant, aligned version of life. And because the universe is always listening, it responds immediately. The moment you shift, your surroundings begin to change. People switch up. Opportunities multiply. What once felt distant suddenly seems certain. Not because reality bends to your will, but because you've stopped operating at a slower pace. These moments often feel unreal. You get that call and say yes without a second thought. You finally express the truth you've been holding back. The old fears shatter, and what's left is space. Space for something greater to arrive. The jump may appear as external changes, but it's always an internal shift first. It happens when you decide, not just in your mind but in your energy, that you're done settling for less. Most people don't miss jump points because they aren't there. They miss them because they doubt the signals they receive. They feel the nudge but talk themselves out of it. They sense the alignment but wait for proof. But jump points don't come with guarantees. They arrive with a strong sense of knowing that whispers, "It's time." And when you say yes to that feeling, without questioning, that's when the magic happens. The field kicks in when you're ready for an upgrade. You don't have to go hunting for jump points. Instead, prepare for them. Start by raising your baseline. Align yourself with the version of you that already exists on a higher timeline. Practice the thoughts, habits, and emotions that come naturally to that upgraded version. When that way of being becomes your default, the jump point won't seem like magic, but like math. The system notices your alignment and charts a course that fits. Sometimes the jump feels soft, other times it feels like a shake-up, but it always leaves you feeling different, lighter, clearer. Once you settle into that new frequency, you might wonder why you waited so long. What used to seem impossible now feels like the most obvious thing. That's the beauty of a jump point. It wipes out doubt and opens up a world of possibilities. And it happens, not gradually, but all at once. You're never more than one alignment away from your next jump. Don't just seek it, become it. The field is ready for you when you're ready for it. The moment you embrace your higher self, that jump becomes a sure thing, quick, graceful, and complete. Identity isn't merely how you see yourself. It's the anchor that locks you into a specific timeline. In a universe filled with endless realities, each one shapes itself not by outside events, but by the version of you experiencing them. You don't attract what you want. You attract what your identity expects. That's why change starts with your identity, not your actions. You need to anchor a new identity that matches the frequency of your desired reality. Many people try to reach their goals by pushing through habits and routines, but if the identity beneath all that hasn't changed, you're stuck in the same loop. If you act from a place that believes the results are far off, the universe will keep them at a distance. The field reflects what you've anchored, not what you wish for. Quantum identity anchoring is a conscious choice to be who you want to be before any proof arrives. It's holding on to the frequency of your desired outcome as if you're embodying it right now. That version of you already exists in the quantum field. Your job isn't to create them, it's to tune in and stabilize that connection. When you do, your timeline starts to converge. The world around you responds as if the shift has already taken place, because internally it has. Pretending becomes choosing. You pick the thoughts, feelings, body language, and limits of your future self and make them unchangeable. You can feel it in your chest. You start to notice how you make decisions. You stop seeking approval because you're no longer waiting for someone to say you're good enough. You're putting out a signal of completion. But anchoring yourself needs consistency. You don't just drop by your new identity like it's a vacation spot. You actually live there. You practice it when things get tough. When doubt creeps in, you go back to it. Each time you hold on to this new vibe, you strengthen it. You make it more powerful than old habits, and eventually, this new you takes the lead. This isn't about faking confidence or forcing yourself to be sunny. It's about speeding up time. When you tie your identity to who you've already become, the universe responds with matching events. Reality starts to take shape not just by what you do, but by who you claim to be. For too long, you've anchored your identity without realizing it. Now you get to do it on purpose. You get to write your own code, knowing that the version of yourself you want isn't just a dream. It's a frequency, and it becomes real as soon as you choose to live from it. Not later, not when the evidence shows up, right now. Anchor it, solidify it, and watch how everything shifts to align with who you already are. You didn't land in a fixed system. You're in an open-source simulation, one that's always being altered, updated, and influenced by consciousness itself. The structures you navigate, the patterns you notice, the results you expect, none of these are set in stone. They're all code, open for change. When you realize you have the power, you don't need special permission to shift things. You just need awareness. Realizing that reality isn't set stops you from asking for the green light to change it. In a closed-off system, everything's preordained. In an open-source simulation, everything is shaped by your signal. You're not just a bystander, you're an active participant. Every belief, emotion, and assumption you have adds a line of code that updates the part of the system you're living in. You're not separate, you're part of it, and it's ready to respond to your next command. That's why breakthroughs often follow breakdowns. When the old code can't hold up anymore, you're ready for something new. When things start to go off track, it's not a failure. It's the system clearing a path for an upgrade. You're being nudged to change the script to replace old defaults with new, thoughtful ideas. Many never take this step. They think reality is something to just bear. But at its heart, reality is a team effort. It reacts to how we engage with it. Every limitation you've heard is set in stone. It's just a common story that keeps playing because enough folks believe in it. Common doesn't mean unchangeable. You can rewrite the code whenever you want. You can adopt new beliefs, embrace fresh expectations, and redefine who you are. When you do, life begins to shift. People see you differently. Opportunities pop up where you thought there were none, not because life suddenly changed, but because you chose to take part in building it. The beauty of existence is that the rules are flexible. Reality reflects the main mindsets around it. When those mindsets change, the world changes. What seemed impossible can become likely. What once felt out of reach can turn easy. You realize the only thing holding you back was believing you couldn't shape the system. Don't wonder if this is real. Ask yourself what your current beliefs are creating. If you're stuck in cycles of scarcity, fear, or doubt, it's not because something's wrong with you. It's simply that you haven't updated the defaults yet. But you can. The command line is ready, and the system is open to whatever you bring, as long as you're consistent and clear. You're not just here to watch life unfold. You're meant to mold it. The moment you own that, everything shifts, not because you have all the answers, but because you finally logged in, not just as a user, but as a creator. This code belongs to you now. Start writing. Not every change demands action. Some of the biggest shifts happen in quiet moments. It's not about the absence of sound, but the absence of mental clutter and emotional noise, the constant hustle of trying to manage or fix life. Silence isn't empty. It's filled with signals. It's where your true voice can be heard. When you dive into that space, without distractions or goals, you don't just pause the simulation, you upgrade it. In that quiet, the ego eases up. When your mind lets go of old stories, the energy you used to send out begins to turn inwards. And that's when your baseline frequency starts to rise. Not because you're doing more, but because you're finally seeing things clearly. Silence melts away the noise, showing you the gap between the identity you've been living and the truth you've been dodging. Once you notice that gap, change starts to happen. Your system doesn't need a constant stream of input to react. It needs coherence. Silence is where that coherence grows. It's the space for jumbled thoughts to settle, where mismatched stories no longer cling to you, and where your nervous system remembers how to truly rest. And this rest isn't just sitting around doing nothing. It's powerful. In stillness, your body finds its natural rhythm, your energy clears, and what you've been trying to force with words or actions starts to flow back to you effortlessly. You've probably felt this without even realizing it. That brilliant idea that popped up in the shower, the clarity you found while walking, the emotions that moved through you when you stopped trying to label them. These weren't just lucky moments. They were signs of your energy finally getting a clear channel. When you're silent, your energy becomes understandable. When it's understandable, it can be received. And when it can be received, the reflections in your life shift. Silence isn't about withdrawing, it's about connecting. It's where you can tune into the intelligence of the field without any distractions. When you stop sending out chaos, the field stops bouncing confusion back at you. You enter that quiet space not to escape, but to recalibrate your role in life. You stop overpowering your own signal and let your system feel you, raw, real, unfiltered. That kind of honesty is more impactful than any strategy could ever be. In a world that values movement, silence is revolutionary. It's a bold statement that your worth isn't defined by how much you do. Your growth doesn't need constant narrating. You can transform your reality not just by trying something new, but by being still long enough for your current energy to settle. And when it does, the next version of you appears, not as a goal to chase, but as a natural outcome. You don't have to prove you're ready. You don't need to announce your worth. You can sit in silence and let your energy speak for itself. The field will listen, your system will adjust, and life will reflect back not your efforts, but your true frequency. Clean, calm, and aligned. Because in silence, you become undeniable. In that quiet space, everything begins. Most people go through life skimming the surface. They react to thoughts, juggle emotions, and adjust to what's happening around them. They work from scattered ideas, fragmented stories, and quick fixes. But underneath all that noise lies something deeper, something more stable, more powerful. It's your core, your root directory, the original part of you that holds your true essence. When you operate from this space, you stop recycling old patterns. You stop trying to twist reality from the outside. Instead, you start creating it from within. Your root directory isn't your personality, your habits, or your past. It's that untouched bit of you. The pure part that knows without needing proof, that chooses without second guessing, that acts without looking for approval. Many people forget this part exists. They pile on layers of identity shaped by survival, approval, performance, and fear. But the deeper you go, the more you realize that your truth was never really lost. It was just buried. When you work from your root, everything becomes clearer. Decisions are simpler, reactions fade away. You don't have to clear your desires through a filter of permission. You act because you're grounded. You choose because you trust. You speak because the message is clear. Your commands come through this level, not because you're shouting, but because you're connecting deeply. The universe doesn't heed the noise. It listens to the source. You've experienced those rare times when you moved without overthinking, when your body knew something before your mind caught up. That yes or no was instant and unshakable. That wasn't just impulse. That was a root-level command. It didn't need to be analyzed or justified. It was simply truth, expressed as energy. And such a signal can shift timelines instantaneously. The trick is staying there. The world pulls you into the chaos, the fear, the distractions. But you don't have to respond to every alert. You don't have to open every mental tab. You can pause, breathe, and dive beneath the noise, asking, what does the root know? Your root always knows. It never panics, never doubts. It just is. Living from your root doesn't mean ignoring emotions. It means guiding those feelings with clarity. It doesn't mean dodging uncertainty. It means facing it with stability. When you tap into your root, you stop asking the world who you are. You start to really know yourself. You stop waiting for things to line up. You become the alignment. This isn't about stepping back from life. It's about finding that place where life reacts to you in a new way. Manifestation isn't about asking. It's about realizing. You're not hoping, you're remembering. You aren't just acting, you're sending out energy. The deeper your source, the clearer the message. When your life comes from that space, it doesn't need to be pushed. It unfolds powerfully and harmoniously with the truth. You stop doubting. You express more than you realize, not only with your words, but with your very vibe. Every word you utter is like casting a spell. Each sentence is a command sent out into the world. What you say isn't just communication. It's about creation. Words don't merely describe your reality, they shape it. They don't just express how you feel, they tell the universe what to reflect, what to repeat, and what to bring into being. Most people talk without thinking. They throw around doubt like it's no big deal. They speak of limitations as if they're facts and joke about their struggles, not realizing the field isn't judging their humor, it's acting on it. When you say, nothing ever works out for me, or I'm always behind, you're not just being self-aware, you're giving instructions. The universe is listening closely, not just to your bold statements, but also to the little phrases you say without thinking. Every time you say, I can't, I don't, or I'm not, you're sculpting a version of yourself that the universe reflects back with absolute accuracy. You don't get what you want, you get what your words predict. Your voice doesn't just define who you are, it secures it. But don't let this make you afraid of your words. Instead, become intentional. Once you understand your voice holds power, you stop using it carelessly. You quit letting old stories dictate your signal. You begin to speak as though you know the universe is listening and ready to respond. You use your words to align with what you want, not to justify where you are. The more consistent you are, the quicker the universe adapts. You've seen it in action, like the moment you said, "I'm done with this," and really meant it. That broke the pattern. The day you announced, "I'm not settling anymore," something changed. That wasn't just luck. That was your voice sending a new command, one the universe had to acknowledge. The stronger the spell, the clearer the words from the source become. You don't have to shout. You don't need lengthy explanations. Just speak, and it resonates. Not by force, but because it's genuine. It aligns. The energy behind your words is what truly matters. The system doesn't focus on your words, but on the signals they send. So talk from the place you want to be. Speak like it's already yours. Don't just share. Activate. Use your voice to close old chapters and open new ones. Your language can bridge the gap between what you want and what you live. Each word is a tool. Every phrase weaves reality together. You're not just chatting, you're crafting, instructing the mirror to reshape itself. When your words match your energy, the response is quick, sharp, and clear. You didn't just ask, you commanded. The universe listens every time, without fail. Your surroundings aren't just the space you inhabit. They're a mirror, reflecting back what you're sending out. Many believe their surroundings are independent of their inner world, but they're always interacting. Your environment is a visible expression of your current vibe. The people around you, the places you go, even the timing of events, they're not random. They resonate with the frequency you emit. When your signal is scattered, things can feel chaotic, but when it's clear, your space starts to harmonize. You walk into a room and feel uplifted, or open your phone to find confirmations. This isn't coincidence, it's a response. The system mirrors your true self. You've probably experienced it. The day everything fell into place, the energy that brightened the whole space. How others treated you differently when you owned your energy rather than seeking approval. Those moments weren't random. They were recalibrations. Your environment adjusted to your new internal frequency, not because you told it to, but because it naturally does. But remember, the mirror reflects both ways. When you feel stuck in chaos or dullness, it's not just the world acting on you. It shows where your energy might be misaligned. It's not about blame. It's about understanding. Once you stop reacting and start interpreting your environment, you gain insight. You tap into a deeper conversation going on around you. The field is asking, is this the vibe you're putting out? Change happens when you stop running away from your surroundings and start adjusting your own frequency. It's not about moving to a new city or changing your location. It's about changing the energy you bring to those places. When your tone shifts, the atmosphere starts to shift too. When you level up your internal standards, the outside world follows suit. You don't have to push it. You just have to be it. Your environment isn't fixed. It's alive and adapts to what you expect, accept, and assume. When you declare a new version of yourself and own it, your space starts to reorganize. People who match your old energy drift away, and new opportunities come in unexpectedly. Timing feels seamless. Paths become clear because you've altered your request. You've rewritten the playbook. You're not trapped by your circumstances. You're shaping them. Every feeling, assumption, and repeating thought sends out a signal to the field. When you start viewing your environment as feedback rather than a cage, you reclaim your role as the one who sends signals, the one who drives change. Everything around you isn't random. It's a response. The moment you choose to shift, to embody a new way of being, your environment responds instantly, without hassle. It's not stagnant. It's listening and reflecting who you are now. Stillness isn't about doing nothing. It's about doing something very specific, something powerful. In a world that values constant movement, stillness can seem weak. But in the field, stillness isn't absence. It's a strong signal, especially when clarity is crucial. It doesn't shout for change. It creates space for change to happen smoothly. Stillness is a strategic move, not a passive one. It's not just standing still. It's recalibrating your power. Many people only seek stillness when they're overwhelmed, when action fails, or when answers elude them. But stillness shouldn't be a last resort. It's a master key. When you use it intentionally, it's the moment your system catches up to the update you've just made. By sitting in stillness, you let the system process your last command without rewriting it out of fear. Instead of scrambling to control everything, start trusting stillness. That's where integration happens. where your identity finds stability. You can declare a new belief, picture a new future, and embody a new vibe. But if you don't let space for the universe to respond, you'll short-circuit the whole process. Stillness is that much-needed space. It's the breath between sending a message and getting a response. Without it, you're just adding noise to what's already trying to work. With stillness, you're saying, I trust the message is out there. I'm done chasing. I'm ready to receive. You know that feeling, the moment you let go, not in defeat, but in calm assurance. Then everything starts to shift. It isn't about giving up, it's about being smart with your stillness, allowing the system to breathe and respond naturally. Now you've created space for clarity to show up. It's not about forcing it, it's about being still, so the message can be heard. In that stillness, you align with a deeper intelligence beyond the mind. You stop managing everything and start listening. You're not emptying yourself to escape, you're clearing space for what already knows to rise up. And in that area, knowing doesn't come as words, but as a feeling, a clear sense that guides you effortlessly. It's not about doing nothing, it's about timing. Stillness is not the same as stagnation. It's the pause before making your move, allowing your next steps to resonate rather than react. When you trust that stillness, you stop fearing the in-between. You no longer mistake silence for emptiness. You realize that the most powerful changes often happen in quiet moments, in the waiting, when you're no longer trying to fix everything, but are just ready. The system doesn't need you to fill every moment. It needs you to know when to hold space and when to be silent still and let things unfold. Because in that stillness, the universe works for you. And what comes isn't just aligned, it's perfect, timely, and precise. You didn't rush, you honored the moment with your trust. Synchronicity isn't random. It's not luck or coincidence. It's a message from the system, a direct note from the universe to you, telling you that your current frequency is being recognized. When everything aligns perfectly, when events sync up just right, when the right person calls at exactly the right moment, that's the universe giving you a nudge, saying, I see you. When you talk, you're really showing how your inner feelings are causing changes around you. A lot of folks overlook these signs because they shrug them off as coincidences. But in a responsive system, nothing is random. Synchronicity is the universe's way of saying you're on track. It's like the code letting you know it's working. These moments don't just pop up for fun. They're here to reassure you that you're following your path. It's a signal to keep pushing forward. This version of you is being recognized. The system is active, and your vibe is being noted. When you notice more synchronicities, don't brush them aside. It's feedback. You've tapped into a space where your thoughts, feelings, and sense of self are starting to sync up. The clearer your energy becomes, the more often you'll see these messages, like repeating numbers or echoing ideas. They can come from unexpected places. The world around you reflects your inner state. These aren't random signs, they're conversations. But keep in mind, the messages aren't always about specific goals. Sometimes, synchronicity is more about who you're growing into. It's not just sneak peeks of what's ahead, it's a signal that your energy matches a higher reality. In that space, time shifts, possibilities widen, and obstacles dissolve. The change happens not because the world is different, but because you've adjusted your own state. You don't need to analyze every sign like a mystery. Just tune into the vibe. When it feels light, clear, and harmonious, that's alignment. If it feels heavy, flat, or forced, take a moment to reset. The universe is always sending you messages. You just need to be present enough to catch them. Many people rush around, overthinking and missing the signs they've been searching for. They want answers but overlook the guidance right in front of them. The system doesn't shout at you. It communicates through rhythm, timing, and moments that your logical mind might call coincidence. But your higher self understands its confirmation. Synchronicity is not just magical, it's mechanical. It's how the living, breathing system tells you it's responding. So when you notice it, take a breath, acknowledge it, and engage with the universe like the smart partner it is. Say, I see you, I'm listening, I'm ready. Once you show the system you're tuning into these messages, it sends you even clearer signals, making life feel more vibrant. It starts to feel like a conversation, not a guessing game. There's a direct connection between what you intend and what you experience. From your signal to your reflection, from your command to your confirmation, it happens line by line, message by message, right on cue. Doubt isn't just a thought, it's a cycle, a frequency that goes round and round. It keeps bringing in just enough uncertainty to hold you back, muddy your clarity, and drain your energy. It might begin with a simple moment of hesitation, a question about whether you're ready, if it's all working, or if you're enough. And if you give it even a little attention, it starts to grow, exponentially, not just a bit. Doubt loops don't simply pause your progress, they cut off your power right at the source. Power isn't loud or aggressive, it's steady, clear, and direct. It moves forward without asking for reassurance. It sends out a signal and trusts what comes back. But when doubt creeps in, the signal can get messed up. You say you're ready, but you find yourself checking every few minutes. You claim to trust, yet you're rehearsing your escape plan if things go south. You declare it's finished, but your energy is still chasing after it. The field doesn't get confused, it simply reflects what's strongest. So if doubt is louder than clarity, that's what gets shown back to you. Doubt isn't the enemy, it's a reminder of old patterns. It's your system asking if you're truly done with the version of you that used to hesitate or seek proof before acting. Each time doubt loops, it gives you a choice: stay in the past or fully embrace the new signal. Many people get stuck here, not because they're wrong, but because they think doubt means to stop. But doubt doesn't mean stop, it means decide. Every time you let doubt take control, you lower the quality of your signal. You become harder for the field to read. The algorithm hesitates, not because it doesn't want to deliver, but because your signal keeps shifting mid-command. The more you loop, the weaker your code becomes, and the weaker the code, the slower the response. You've felt it. The difference between a decision rooted in deep knowing and one that comes from mental back and forth. One moves mountains, the other keeps you spinning in circles. You don't break doubt loops by fighting with them. You break them by rooting in your identity. Become the version of you who no longer bargains with uncertainty, who doesn't need proof for every outcome before taking action. Move forward because you've already decided who you are. You find returns when you wrap things up. Stop going back to the same questions. Start living the answer, not by forcing it, but by accepting it. You don't need confidence every second. Just let go of the doubt that keeps creeping in. Don't split your energy with mixed signals. The universe responds to clarity, and clarity comes when you stop letting doubt take over. Make a decision and stick to it. Let that signal find its balance. As soon as you stop wondering if it's working, that's when it really takes off. The loop closes, the mirror clears, and your progress speeds up. Not because the world changed, but because you did. It's about removing the distractions and the hesitation, unlocking pure power. Trust isn't a sign of weakness or blind hope. It's a frequency, a clear state that the system understands perfectly. Trust is the master key. It opens the doors to flow, alignment, and growth, not by making life easy, but by reducing the delays in what you want. The universe doesn't ask for struggle, it asks for stability. Trust sends the message: this signal is clear, let's go. When you trust, you stop second-guessing. No more chasing, no more stressing over timing, no more doubts about whether you're being heard. You just know, and that certainty improves your signal. It cuts through the doubt and quiets the chaos that muddles your message to the universe. Move in trust, and you become clear to the system. Clarity is crucial in a world that reflects back what you send out. A lot of people want proof before they trust. But that's not how it works. Trust comes first. It's what gets the ball rolling. If you wait to feel safe before trusting, you'll stay stuck trying to prove yourself. But when you trust without needing proof, the proof shows up quicker. Not because you've tricked the system, but because you've stopped sending mixed messages. Trust doesn't mean you never have doubts. It means you don't let doubt take the lead. When fear pops up, you notice it, but don't let it take you off course. Keep moving as if your desires are already in motion, because in this space, they are. The moment you send out a signal in trust, things start to fall into place. There are no delays, just alignment. And that alignment meets you at the level of your signal. These are the moments when you let go, not from a place of defeat, but from deep understanding. It's when you release your grip on control, not because you care less, but because you stop complicating things. That's when the call comes through. That's when clarity arrives. That's when the world starts to shift. Trust isn't just sitting back. It's a powerful force. It does what brute strength can't, allowing the universe room to respond rather than defend itself. Trust is when you stop battling the timeline, when you stop obsessing over how everything unfolds. You start vibrating with the part of you that knows it'll all work out. That change is crucial. It's less about feelings and more about energy. It reorganizes everything with precision. When you operate from a place of trust, life doesn't just react, it rushes in. With trust as your foundation, the universe stops reflecting delays and starts showing readiness. Instead of struggling to manifest, it feels like you're simply recalling what's already yours. When you trust, you're not just reaching out, you're opening a door that's been waiting for you. The key was in your hand all along. Just turn it and step through. Latency isn't a delay, it's a vital moment. It's the stretch between sending a signal and having it fully received and reflected in reality. Latency isn't a mistake, it's the universe's timing at work. It's not about life holding back what you want. It's about life rearranging itself to fulfill your request exactly as it should. But many mistake latency for failure. They think patience means they're powerless, so they send out a second signal filled with doubt, canceling the first one. The universe responds perfectly to every desire and choice. But manifestation doesn't happen instantly, not because something's wrong, but because it's intelligent. Latency is where the magic of alignment happens. It's the quiet movement, the hidden construction. It's where paths cross and opportunities open up. It's where your signal meets the right resources, timing, and structure to make it last, not just to show up for a moment. Too many people can't wait. They keep checking for signs, twisting outcomes, and unknowingly weakening their energy. They send out the right signal once, then cancel it out 3 times. Sometimes, things don't happen when we want them to. But wait, latency isn't the same as doing nothing. It's more like waiting for a seed to grow. If it popped up too soon, you might not be ready, and it could fall apart. The universe isn't rushing, it's focusing on stability. You might have noticed those times when it felt like nothing was happening, but deep down, you could sense change. Remember when opportunities showed up only after you let go of the pressure? Those moments weren't random. They were the universe respecting your intentions, ensuring that when things arrived, you were ready to embrace them fully. Mastering this waiting game means trusting the process. Timing is a form of intelligence. Just because you can't see progress doesn't mean it's not happening. Your role isn't to force things to happen. It's to keep that energy flowing, embodying the best version of yourself that you've envisioned. If you stay true to your intention, the universe will hold on to your great plans. Those plans will come to life when everything aligns perfectly. Staying active doesn't mean hurrying. It's about making thoughtful choices. It's about sticking to your truth and not needing proof to feel grounded. Remember, proof shows up after you've stabilized your energy, not before. This waiting period is special. It's where unseen forces are working on your behalf. The more faith you have, the less you'll feel like you have to chase after things. You'll trust that what you want is already on its way, not stalled, just aligning quietly and right on time. Reality isn't just a path you walk along. It's a reflection of your thoughts and beliefs. The world doesn't just show you what's real. It mirrors what you're putting out there. Every feeling, thought, and belief acts like code, shaping your experience. You're not just reacting, you're creating. Some people think that the mirror is slow or flawed. They might ask, why isn't this working? Or why does this keep happening? But the mirror isn't being mean. It's simply reflecting what it sees. If you're getting back confusion or old pain, it's not because life is against you. It's just the result of the code you're running. The system remains unchanged. It's loyal and reflects whatever it receives without bias. A mirror doesn't react to words. It responds to how you truly embody them. You can recite affirmations all day, but if your nervous system is sending out signals of fear, lack, or doubt, that's what the mirror will reflect. It doesn't care about your intentions. It reads your frequency, observes your consistency, and reflects your deepest truth. Not the words you speak, but the life you lead. That's why transformation can feel both magical and mechanical. You subtly shift how you carry yourself, how you expect to be treated, how you feel when no one is watching. And then the outside world begins to change, not because you forced it, but because you updated your code. The mirror isn't slow, it's obedient. Once the programmer changes, the reflection has to change too. Remember the day you stopped needing something and suddenly it appeared? Or when you decided you were done settling and everything rearranged around you? That wasn't magic, that was command. You projected a new identity, and the universe adjusted, not accidentally, but by law. The mirror is programmed to reflect you. The only thing that changes is who you choose to be. If you don't like what you see, stop trying to fix the mirror. Change the input, rewrite your assumptions, and hold on to a new frequency long enough for it to take over. The mirror doesn't need convincing, it needs clarity. It reflects what's most stable, repeated, and believed. The mirror reveals. You are the creator of what's revealed. When you take full responsibility as the programmer, you stop wrestling with life. You stop trying to manipulate outcomes. You see that the power wasn't in the reflection, it was in the signal. The reflection only lags when the signal is split. But once you become clear, the mirror responds right away. It's always reacting, not to your desires, but to your code, line by line. You've been trying to decode how this system works, how the field responds, how the mirror shows you what's happening. You've wondered what the algorithm is as if it were something external. But the reality is much simpler and way more powerful. You are the algorithm. You're not just giving instructions to the system. You are the system. You aren't interacting with reality from the outside. You're shaping it from the inside with every thought and every feeling. Breathe in. The essence of reality isn't just out there. It's in you. It's in your choices, your beliefs, and the energy you carry when no one's watching. The world around you isn't merely reacting. It's made up of who you are. The version of reality you experience matches the energy you're putting out. Most of us think we're navigating a static world, one that's separate from us. We feel we need to chase it or negotiate with it. But when you understand that your consciousness is the driving force behind this experience, everything changes. You stop looking for ways to get the world to respond and start asking how to become the person that reality already tunes into. The universe doesn't respond to struggle. It responds to who you are at your core. You felt that shift the moment you stopped trying so hard and just started being. When you walked, spoke, and moved like you already knew what was coming, everything around you began aligning with you. That wasn't luck. That was you coming into sync. It's not about external tools or fancy strategies. It's about realizing you hold the power. The one who sets the tone, who activates the experiences, is you. The clearer you embrace this, the quicker your surroundings adjust. You're not just reacting to life, you're sending it out. You're not chasing a result, you're stabilizing the signal that brings it to you. This awareness bridges the gap between what you desire and who you become. You aren't just using the algorithm, you are the algorithm. You are the creator, the source. The clearer you get, the more precise the outcomes become. The stronger your identity, the more responsive everything around you is. You don't need to figure it all out. Just feel it, own it, live it, because in every moment the system reflects your current energy manifested into reality. When you fully embrace your role as the algorithm, life stops feeling random. The path responds to you, timelines shift, and manifesting becomes effortless. It's not about finally getting the universe to listen. It's about remembering who you truly are, the code, the creator, the algorithm itself, always.